and looks confused.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Poseidon had us muted the entire time.
Yeah, but I pressed it.
No. Poseidon had us muted the entire time.
No one heard anything, eh?
No.
No.
Good.
But I had pressed it. No, but I had pressed it.
No, you
though.
didn't.
I swear to God, I did. I pressed both at the same time.
Oh, fuck again with the excuse. I pressed both at the same time. I guess you can't press two buttons at the... He's trying to find every...
No, I'm not trying to find an
Strange.
excuse.
No one seems to mind. No one's mentioned it.
They're laughing at Poseidon. They're hearing the music.
I'm very upset because I pissed.
Oh, you're upset.
Yeah.
You're upset,
I'm
not
upset.
me.
I'm upset. Well, you're upset also, but it's because I actually pressed it.
All right, listen, Poseidon, we're not going to go through this all day. This is why people get mad. This is why people leave shitty messages about you. So, welcome to the morning show. I'm very sorry about Poseidon. It was bound to happen again. What do you want me to do? It's there's a mute and unmute. He said, let's stay muted. They don't need to hear them. They could see them. So welcome to the morning show. Head over to patreon.com/Pantelis for exclusive content. We're working on a new episode of This Just Thing today. There's a lot of news that we want to talk about. It'll come out on This Just Thing. As you can see, to my left, George Tadrizos made it in today.
Nice to be here.
Nice of
It's
you
weird.
to come.
I mean, there's a lot of man in this room
There's a lot of man and in this room right now. It's happening. Remember that this episode is brought to you by Cialis. Wake up and stay up. Poseidon has been testing the free product, and he does confirm that if you wake up, you will in fact stay up. Is that correct, Poseidon?
Absolutely.
Very good. So, George, I see you printed out a sheet of notes.
I always have notes that just don't show.
I knew it. I fucking knew he was reading it.
Obviously, he was reading it. He sounds like a robot.
Who is sending you this
Hello,
information,
ladies and
George?
gentlemen.
I have to get prepared. I mean, this is no bullshit over here. This is a serious
real-
show here,
this is-
guys.
well, I wouldn't say serious, but it
This
is a
show?
show. It is a show.
This show.
With a perplexed look.
Perplexus.
You're talking about this show, right?
This morning show? Fucking.
George is listening to us on his fucking phone. This is absurd. This is crazy. I just heard double.
That's the first and last time.
Is it because on the left and on the right of me, I have people that may have mental problems? What is happening today? What the fuck's going on?
I had my phone on mute. I didn't think.
What do you mean? I can hear myself.
Yeah.
I pressed it, bro.
I thought I pressed it.
Once fucking says I thought it was muted. The other guy thinks it wasn't muted. What the fuck's going on?
I don't know.
You know why you thought it was muted? Because there was no sound coming in from the beginning because
Oh,
he
yeah.
had the stream muted.
So even that is Poseidon's fault.
Yeah.
That's fucked. That's pretty fucked up. Good morning, everyone.
Come on.
Good morning.
All right, George. Set
George,
us up with the
yeah.
news here while I share that we're live.
Yeah, I want to also do this. It's sharing of the liveness.
All right, guys. So we have a nice little variety of news for everyone today. We're going to go a little bit all over the place, all over the planet. We're going to start with some things that came down the pipe yesterday, and I actually tweeted it. So yesterday morning, I wake up and I was checking my Twitter feed, and I saw some ridiculousness, and I decided to tweet about it. And I posted out a tweet about, starting off the day with a joke. And, of course, that joke was the UN, and specifically its Human Rights Council.
Classic UN
which
joke.
had several seats up for grabs. So basically, the way it works, there's, they divide the whole planet into region, and every region has a number of seats attributed to it. So
Which region is the poor one?
they're all poor. But in general, there's 47 seats in that body. So some region had countries running unopposed, like Cuba, for example, for the Latin America region. France and UK, they were running unopposed for Europe. Russia was running unopposed for the Asia region. The only contested region was the Asia Pacific, where you had countries like China, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Nepal, and Uzbekistan running to win 2 seats available in that region. So
Those are all countries that are very strong with civil rights and human rights.
the strongest,
Yeah.
the strongest. So basically, China and Pakistan were elected in that region. So here's the problem with this body. Okay, I believe that there absolutely needs to be a human rights watchdog. All right, at an international level, I believe that. Now, whether we like it or not, the UN, in my opinion, is the most internationally recognized organization, and therefore it kind of makes sense for this to exist under its umbrella. Now here's where
the Coca-Cola is more internationally recognized.
yeah. Now here's where things get a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, there isn't one country among the 193 member nations that can honestly get up and claim that they have a perfect human rights record. Okay, and that. In my opinion, in itself, compromises the very credibility of the UN, right? Now,
I don't know if you're right about that,
I'm not sure about that either.
especially in 2020. Because, like, for example, Pakistan probably could say that. Because they go, we treat humans better than anyone else. Just that we don't consider women, homosexuals, communists, right-wingers, Europeans, Christians, humans.
Hindus.
So, yeah, they could actually
Homosexuals.
say it, yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I'm 100% sure that the UN knows this, right? So they obviously do. And they can very easily come out like they've done in the past and they say, look, we understand that it's not perfect. Not each country is perfect. But what we're looking at is to see that they're demonstrating consistent efforts in respecting international human rights laws.
effort.
Right?
Hey, forever, yeah,
Yeah.
it's China.
No, but you know what?
I forgot about the Uyghur Muslims.
No, but you know what? I'm ready to accept that, right?
Yeah, the Uyghur Muslims, they're in
I
concentration
just
camps.
love the word Uyghur.
Yeah, we do in China.
When I was growing up, Uyghur meant something completely different.
Yeah.
They would wear baggy pants, and it was
And
completely
they were
different.
affluent.
Yeah.
So look, I'm ready to accept that. And I mean, we all know that, there is no country that is perfect. There is no perfect government either.
Hello, China.
Yeah, except for China.
Well,
Except for China.
you know what's fucked up is I think Canada is one of the better countries right now to live. I think Canada's a good country in terms of government.
yeah.
No, and still we have issues.
Yeah,
right?
still we have.
I mean,
That's what
with
I'm
the
saying. No one's
Aboriginals,
perfect.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of government, the best form of government I think is the one that the Americans have, but before
They fucked it up.
before the lobbyists, because basically now the government isn't really run by the people anymore, right? It's all these
Yeah.
companies that are kind of deciding.
Right.
So I think the best form of government is that constitutional republic that the states have, but the way it used to be when you eliminate the fucking venom that got in there. But in terms of fucking Canada right now, I think is doing it pretty well. But we're not
thanks
perfect
to,
at all.
No thanks to Justin.
No, yeah, he kind of set us back a bit.
Well, look, what I don't understand is how can they possibly allow countries like Russia, Pakistan, China, Saudi Arabia to even run for these posts, right? I mean, how do these people running this organization believe, like, in their right minds that this even makes sense?
Well, Pakistan, I don't understand because they don't really. I mean, they're a nuclear power, but they don't really. Saudi Arabia has a lot of money, so I understand how they could flex. But also, Saudi Arabia, I heard for the longest time, they had compared to other like modern countries, they had very very low car-related accidents for the longest time. Yeah,
I know where he's going.
yeah.
Look,
And then everybody was pushing them. No, let women drive, and they're like, "Are you crazy? We have a perfect record."
look.
It's a classic joke. That
I know.
You like anytime you can get that in there, you do
I always
that.
do.
Yeah.
Look, I took a look for fun last night to see some of the other 47 countries that are in this body. Okay, now listen to this, and please tell me
Zimbabwe.
how and why countries like ours keep funding these bodies. Okay, like this is what I don't understand. Here are the countries on the 47 member body
Let's do
Of
it.
the 47 of
of the
human
United Nations Human Rights Council.
Okay.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
So Afghanistan.
Makes sense.
This is a good fucking start, bro. We're start strong. We're using that's our A team.
Afghanistan, Mexico, Pakistan. Pakistan, by the way, was already a member of the board, and they were running to renew their
I
position.
mean, it makes sense.
I
It
got
makes
tweeted
sense.
by a Pakistani the other day on Twitter.
Qatar, Ukraine, Bangladesh, India. That's been killed.
Bangladesh.
India.
They're the ones with the totalitarian caste system, right?
Yes,
Yes,
and the
yes.
ones that are currently wiping out Muslims everywhere.
Really, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Libya.
didn't know about that either.
Yeah. yeah.
Libya doesn't exist anymore. Libya is a bunch of
Yeah.
No, I
failed.
kind of exist.
Libya, the country that is ran by the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, but also it's basically a bunch of militant units that are funded by Turkey.
Exactly.
It's just a bunch of militaries. Okay,
Is Turkey on this body?
No, I didn't see it.
That's
Well,
Right.
that's a step in the right direction.
Sudan and Venezuela.
Sudan.
Venezuela, that
It
country
doesn't
that
exist anymore. It's on fire.
they were shooting their demonstrators.
Yeah.
I mean,
at
they
the
were
beginning.
talking some shit. Maybe they deserved it. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Still, they're shooting at people. So,
Jesus
so now,
Christ.
like, I don't know if there's anyone listening that that's maybe from these countries, and the point for me isn't to
We're not
to
insulting
offend you or
we're
anything, but I'm
insulting
almost
your elected
sure.
officials.
No, but I'm almost sure that if you yourselves recognize, that you recognize if you are from these countries that, the situation is pretty much close to shit.
Well, yeah, if you're from those countries and now you live in the Western world, there's a reason why you left.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the last question I have, and maybe you wise man can share your wisdom.
Don't throw useless words around here.
Me wise.
How is it, that the UN, which is supposed to be that entity that shows the example and leads by it on paper, can allow these countries that aren't even remotely close to that example to accede to these bodies and show the rest how to lead by that same example?
Money.
Like, that for
That's
me
the answer.
is just complete nonsense.
I would like to quote the great Dave Mustaine. ex-Metallica member, lead singer of Megadeth, when he said, the United Nations is undone. You can't get any more than the United Nations. Yeah.
Wow. It's deep.
It is. It is.
Primo Victoria.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. Maybe it's all about reducing, reusing, and recycling, my friend. Because have you seen those videos of people in Pakistan? Instead of like 6 people having 6 different motorbikes to cause pollution, it's 6 people on one moped. On top of each other. So you know what? Maybe they're just like, look, this is really Greta Thunberg-esque. These guys are taking reducing carbon emissions seriously. You're all about human rights.
Look, at the same time, you have to think of it the other way. I mean, if you are in an independent state, like an independent country, the UN has no other option than to recognize you, right? And by recognizing you, automatically they have to invite you to be part of the United Nations, if, of course, that country recognizes the United Nations, because some countries don't. So basically what happens is that, all right, Phil Balbanos, we recognize your independence. Welcome to the international community.
Viva.
We recognize you. Here is your membership contribution to the United Nations. Welcome aboard. How can you then tell a member that is paying whatever money they're paying, oh, you know what, this Human Rights Council, it's not for you.
I mean,
well, yeah, but they should, because
technically they should, right?
What's the point of having this organization if you're not going to talk about that kind of stuff, right? Like if you decide to open up a club, a fan club for hockey, right? You can't have that fan club have people join and never talk about hockey. Like, we're only talking about soccer. We don't want to offend you. The whole point of the United Nations is to better the world, is to talk about any human rights violations.
Maybe the UN should be like Fight Club, where you don't talk about the club.
Well, that's what's happening. They don't talk about anything.
That's exactly what's happening.
Well, look
maybe,
what.
Oh, sorry, not maybe
look,
it should be. Maybe that's what it is. I meant
all of it is nonsensical, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not even countries that control the world. It's like 3 or 4 companies that really control everything, and a lot of them are based in the States right now. So all the stuff, and I've noticed this now with current politics. Like, we're going to talk about on this just thing, but I saw like Nancy Pelosi losing her shit on Wolf Blitzer.
She's not well.
She's not well. So what I've noticed now is so they're fighting about parties, right? When in reality, the people that are behind the parties don't give a shit about what party. They wanted to continue that Bush-era war zone that the entire world is basically, who are we going to fire on first so that we could sell these defense contracts so Halliburton could make money? Anyways, and that's been the same since literally first Bush all the way till Obama. It's been the same fucking stuff. And now, because Trump didn't fit in that club, because nobody wanted Trump in their club, and he was never in. Trump was doing his own thing, right?
He was the weird kid in
Yeah,
class.
that's why they're mad at him. Not because he's saying anything crazy. That's why they're mad at him. It's not, well, he said a lot of crazy stuff, but it's because he didn't fit into that club. I'm not saying he's a good guy. What I'm saying is he's not part of that crew. There could be 2 shit crews, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't part of that military-industrial complex crew. So, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, he's a different kind of.
Because when Trump comes out, the Republican leader, and says, yeah, we should really bring our troops home. We don't need war. And then you have the Democrats becoming the party of war, saying like, no, we need wars. We got to. That should be suspended. That right now for Democrat voters should be like, wait a second, what the fuck? How the fuck did we become the party of war?
I thought most Democratic presidents sent more troops to more wars
Exactly.
than Republicans historically.
Exactly.
I think that's true.
It is true.
But it's also the pretext that we're there to support our allies, right?
They're bringing freedom, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
liberating.
Like the biggest thing when they pulled out of Syria was
They came all over her back.
They pulled out of Syria in time for their buddies that they were selling weapons to the Turks to go in and take over North Syria. That's what I'm saying, is it's all, these are the people that are controlling. So of course they're going to give things like a human rights seat to Pakistan.
It's all fucking bullshit. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. That's why I get into these weird arguments with people like George, for example. George was in politics, right?
Yeah. George used to be very, very much in that cloud of title dictates behavior. He used to have that. He used to be like, but how?
He still
This is a
has it
politician.
bit. He
No.
hasn't shed
He's
his entire skin.
I think I have.
really.
I
You
mean,
shed it completely. I think
Not
he's opening his.
completely. I think you've opened up, but
Well, like,
the
I
idea
mean,
that you would even participate in that, I'm not trying to talk shit about what you did or your contributions, because like I know firsthand the
You
stuff that
contributed a lot,
accomplished.
actually. Yeah.
But the second you decide you're going to be part of that, to me, there's a part of me that's like, look, if you don't know the game is rigged, then none of this really matters.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Look,
you can't be idealistic and be like, I'm going to go in and change things. You're not going to change shit. You're not going to change shit.
I'm not sure that's true. I think, but don't forget also that we're playing at a level that isn't international, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
This was Quebec. It's Quebec politics. I mean, it's still a provincial level. I mean, it's still
but it's all
it's still considerable.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But at the end of the day, and when it comes to my my work in politics, it was much more local, right? It was much more focused locally. I had, I was very,
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't in Quebec that often. I refused to kind of be in that
you were
environment.
almost like our own, like for Greeks, you were like our own personal little free lobby.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have to pay for you, but you did stuff.
Yeah, the phone rang like fucking 24/7.
Ella George.
Yeah.
Community center need new floors.
So I wasn't really present on the hill that much. I would go there, a few times per session, but
For the parties.
Not really the parties. I mean, no, there was work to be done, but most of my work was done locally. So that's maybe why I'm a little bit reluctant to say that. I was in the. Of course, there was a bubble, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're involved locally and you're contributing, to with different organizations or different causes that are local to the area that you represent. I mean, at some point you see that there's some contribution there that you're that you're giving into, right? So I don't know. But I definitely do think that since everything stopped, that I did come out of a bubble. I mean,
Yeah, he's seen
you
a lot
you have to recognize it, and it's not a negative thing.
I recognize it because I used to talk to him since back in the day, since 10 fucking more years, and over 10 years, yeah. And I remember how anytime I'd say something that would go against the mainstream, he'd be like, "It's not like that. Listen, man." And I'd be like, "Fuck, how does he not see this?" But it's because he was so inside, he couldn't see. The second he stepped out of it, like now with this whole, he's looking, he's like, "Oh fuck, yeah, that is a good point." Like that's
When you're inside, you can't see the
well,
forest.
Look,
right?
look. I think even when I was working there, I was pretty objective. I wasn't like that big fanfare kind of guy. Yeah, let's go.
But I've met people through, like when we worked on that video together, and I met a bunch of other people from the parties. I was just like, these people are they indoctrinated or are they dumb?
Yeah.
It's especially on those youth committees. These kids, these eager, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed dumb fucks.
They're very ambitious. They're surrounded by politicians. They want to move up, and
they want to be politicians. They don't want to do something. They want to be politicians. That's the difference.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Poseidon the other day, and now it took him a while to get it, but I was telling him the same thing, like, what do you want and stuff? And Poseidon was stuck in a place where his goal, he wanted to be famous, but he didn't. So I told him, like, that's not a real goal. Like, you could be famous because of X thing, right? And you have to focus on X thing, and that'll make you famous. But he didn't have that structure, right? So I had to kind of reprogram him to be like, what do you want to do in order to? So the same thing with a lot of, they just go, I want to be a politician. They don't think about, okay, well, fucking you only could run for local, like, ask him. He'll find you local office stuff that you could run for that you might be able to win. But what the fuck's the point if you're not doing it, if you're not changing it? Like, just so you could say, I'm fucking district this person. It's
you got to go in for a cause that one you believe in and that motivates you, right? Or else you're going to get bored really quickly. Anyway, back to the news.
Fuck the news, George. Tell us more about your life.
No, what's next on the docket?
I'm just kidding.
So,
by the way, to answer the question in the chat, yes, George would, but only if supported by the white supremacist groups in Canada and if he was running for prime minister.
Are you talking about if you would run for politics again?
Politics. I think
it would be very hard. He's got a family now.
I mean, exactly. Very different.
And there's so much dirt.
On who? On me?
They
all
wouldn't.
the shit we say on this show.
Yeah, they wouldn't. All they would
ruined.
say is, "Look, George didn't say anything wrong, but his fucking friend Pantalis." That's what they would use. They would use me.
And since I'm back in the bubble, I'll be like, yeah, that guy needs to be shut down.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Well, look, freedom of speech ends when that guy starts talking."
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Turkey because we've been
We've
been monitoring the situation quite closely in that part of the world, specifically with regard to its continuous provocations.
By the way, I saw this morning, Erdogan sent out a message. He said the Greeks are going to get exactly what they deserve.
Yeah, and the Cypriots. Yeah, look,
We're gonna get cash. Fuck yeah.
Look, but these are standard things. I mean, that doesn't really worry me that much. I mean, just to bring everyone up to speed, for the last couple of years, but more specifically, since the beginning of 2020, Turkey has been tossing its shit up in a fan, just to make sure that everyone in that region gets a taste of it.
Did you write that on the paper?
I actually did write that on the paper, yeah. So late last year, they completely mishandled the refugee crisis in Syria. And as a result, the EU withdrew the funding that they were sending. So in response to that, Turkey rallied all the extremists and jihadists coming out of Syria and tried to force them into Europe by crossing illegally through Greece's northeastern border. And Greece, obviously much to the surprise of the international community and, of course, Turkey, they were pretty outstanding in keeping these people from entering. Now, since that backfired, Turkey thought up of another plan to pressure Europe, and that was to send last August a vessel to conduct research in the continental shelf belonging to Greece's exclusive economic zone. Basically, in other words, in Greece's territorial waters. So pretty much all of August and September, Greece sought support from its European allies, threatening to veto any decision unless the EU sanctioned Turkey. Finally, a deal was met only 2 weeks ago where Turkey and Greece accepted to engage in negotiations as long as provocation stopped and room was left for dialogue. Now, that didn't last very long because in the last 5 days, not only did Turkey reopen the Cypriot coastal city of Varosha, which had been cordoned off since the Turkish invasion in 1974, but it also sent its vessel again to further exploratory research in Greece's waters just over a week away from one of Greece's national holidays, which is obviously...
What holiday?
The 28th of October.
Right.
The no day where we told them Nazis and Italians, no, sir, we ain't playing that shit.
That's right. So Greece obviously...
Not really.
Yeah, so Greece obviously, they put an end to the talks that were initiated and are once again calling for sanctions.
The cat.
In the last 2 days, the foreign ministers of Canada and Germany both visited Athens in a very obvious sign that Greece seems to be attracting support both from NATO and EU allies and members states as well. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how the next days and weeks unfold and whether sanctions from NATO and the EU will follow. We're obviously going to keep monitoring that. Now, I wanted to also look at it from Turkey's perspective, right? So you have to understand that these people believe that they have every right to be in that zone and that it actually...
It's someone else's country.
They think that it belongs to them, And
but have you seen the map of where the NAVTEX is sending them now?
Yeah, that's what
literally. Let's say this is Turkey and this is Greece, right? This is Greece. It's literally inside. Like there's Greece still here. They're going in here like, yeah, that belongs to us. It's like somebody coming into your house, your neighbor into your fridge. I mean, like, yeah, of course it's part of my house. Yeah. It's absurd.
Where's the property line? It's inside your fridge.
Yeah, it's not even like something like, remember, it's a disputed border. It's nothing like that. It's literally inside the other country.
It's smack in the middle of the Aegean, right? Now, these guys, basically last year, they made a deal with Libya, which, by the way, like I said before, is ran by the Muslim Brotherhood. That deal basically consisted of creating like a maritime corridor uniting both those countries.
That cuts right through Greek territorial waters.
But not only that, I mean, sadly, like smack in the middle of that corridor is a pretty large piece of land called Crete.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Which is the southernmost island
and the largest
that belongs
island.
to
Is
Greece.
it the largest island in the Mediterranean? It is, right?
Yeah.
Is it or is it Sicily?
Greece is the largest island, yeah.
No, in the Mediterranean.
Is it? I think it's Sicily.
Yeah, it's
I think
smaller.
Sicily is the bigger island, but
Yeah,
it's Greece
maybe.
is the largest island.
Yeah.
I mean, the Peloponnese is the largest island, technically.
Not real, because they had to cut that.
I'm sorry, is there water on all sides, George?
Yeah, but it's man-made. That's what I'm saying.
It's all man-made, George.
It's a canal.
No. Look, this is what I'm going to say. Is
We're
I
going to
don't.
get into a big fight about this.
Sicily is the largest island.
I've said it before.
Thank you, Poseidon.
Thank you, Poseidon. You
Thank you.
Sicilian baby. So
Siciliano.
I've said it before. I don't want there, even though I'm very upset. I don't want there to be war because, like Erdogan, even though he wants war, all it's going to do is innocent young soldiers. Greeks are going to die, Turks are going to die. I don't think it's worth it. But since he talks so tough, I would like to issue a challenge to represent all of the Mediterranean. And
You and him one-on-one.
I am willing. No,
No,
because he's an old man. I'll make the odds even better for him.
Okay.
I'm willing in a cage to fight Erdogan and his two sons, both the straight and the gay one, in a cage 3-on-1 at the
risky.
same time. Yeah,
That's
at the same time. No joke. I'm willing to do it. And if we win, they could fuck right off the Mediterranean
I mean, that
and leave
seems
everyone alone.
unfair.
It's unfair for them because I am a Greek, so the odds are on my favor.
mean, that's
So
not
I'm
what
willing
I
to do
meant.
it.
I mean, let's be more fair. Let's have like George's dad.
More
fight
fair?
Erdogan.
Okay, he could bring.
George's dad could fucking destroy
Okay,
him.
if we want to be more
build
fair,
a fucking shed around him while they're fighting.
if we want to make it more fair, he can bring in that defense minister he has with the mustache. They could be 4-on-1.
Two gay guys against you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm equal.
You're risking
equal
a lot
opportunist.
of anal penetration.
There's literally no fear. I would do zero training going into it.
They're gonna get you Ottoman style.
Yeah,
You know what that means?
yeah,
Ottomanic.
yeah. They're gonna be a nice little tabletop for me to fucking step on. So
So basically,
Yeah.
look, there was another blow to Turkey this week.
That was the lead-in from that gay conversation. Another
I don't
blow
know.
to
It
Turkey.
wasn't supposed to be a gay conversation. It was just supposed to be like whatever Erdogan does behind closed doors is
I mean,
his,
that's up
is
to
his
him.
issue.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not judging it.
I'm just saying that's what I would do to avoid needless deaths because I don't just feel bad for Greek soldiers. I also feel bad for Turkish soldiers because these are a lot of poor kids. For what? Die because this guy thinks he's going to restart the Ottoman Empire. His partners in crime right now are Pakistan and Azerbaijan. They think they're going to have this new the golden Mongolian whatever the fuck they said
Turkic state or something.
The golden Mongol hordes. They go we're 3 countries but 1 nation is what they call themselves. A guy on Twitter already threatened to kill me, which was good. I invited him over to my house. He hasn't showed up yet.
I'm gonna after the show, I'm gonna find this tweet. One of the most infuriatingly inaccurate but highly retweeted comments I've ever heard about the Greece-Turkey disputes about the Aegean.
Yeah.
I wanted to tag you in it just to like get you in, like tag you in, because this guy's looking for trouble.
Yeah, they're all
just looking for
but they all say stupid things. They think it belongs to them because they go, well, we're a bigger country and we can bully you, so it belongs to us. It's like, well, that's not what it means. Because by that logic, I could step into anybody's house who's like an old lady and be like, I'm stronger. This is my house. That's retarded.
Yeah, but don't forget also, it's also the way they've been educated, right? I mean, who knows what?
But I'm only blaming the politicians. I'm not even blaming the people, even though I know a good portion of the people, especially around Ankara, were poorly educated in their caves.
There's some really weird videos now circulating from the Greek northern borders because on the Evros, in the triangle up there in the swamps where the borders meet with Bulgaria and Turkey, like the soldiers on either side, they can see each other.
Yeah.
Like it's not far. Like I had a buddy who served.
Oh, just across the river. And
he goes at night when we'd smoke, we could see them. Like you could see their cigarette butts, and like all these videos of like Greeks basically arguing with Turks over the border. I'm like, how is this helpful? Like, what are we doing here? How are these videos getting out on both sides? And it's just weird. And you see this like weird historic tension rising for no reason other than that Erdogan's an idiot.
Yeah, because there was a while before Erdogan. I remember when I was younger,
they were
friends that were that had done their military service in Greece that were on the border, and they go, bro, he goes, honestly, at the time they were sending stuff over to each other. Like they're like, oh, here my mom made tiropita, try this, and they would send like Turkey.
The soldiers to play backgammon over the border.
Exactly, and they would laugh and talk with each other. And then this guy fucking decided to go full salt and start telling them, no, we got to cut the heads off, and Christians and Greeks, Armenians, we got to kill them. And then somehow it took a decade to indoctrinate a new generation, and then they fucking turned into savages. It's fucking because they're not like that. They were chilling on the borders. They were cool. Remember the earthquake?
Especially the Western Turks.
Remember when there was the earthquake?
Which one?
So Turkey had a big earthquake. Greece sent soldiers to help. No, more than 3 years ago. And then they were donating blood, all that, and then the Grey Wolves, like those people that support, they came out and said we don't want to accept Greek blood. We don't want to take Greek blood, and then that started tensions again because then regular Turks like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like
we need blood.
We need blood. They came to support. The fuck are you talking about? But those people that fringe super right wing part, they took over now. Like they're
more of a nationalist element than a right wing element.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy shit.
Also, they don't want Greek blood. Didn't they fucking hundreds of years ago fucking kidnap the babies?
The Janissaries, they turned them into they took little Greek kids.
I mean, if anyone's gonna give you blood that's compatible with yours, it's probably
one third of your population is us that doesn't know they're us. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like, god damn it.
I don't know. I've met some pretty brown Greeks, so that sword cuts both ways.
Well, they're not brown. They're real Turks. They're Mongolians. They're
I mean, you know the Turkofach.
The Turkofach. Yeah, you see them.
You meet them and you're like, Mongolo brow. I see it.
Yeah, Turkoglu.
So basically, so there was another blow to Turkey this week when the EU, via its ambassadors to Libya, they categorically rejected that memorandum claiming that, we're still talking about that deal between the maritime corridor there.
This is our lane. Isn't that someone's house? No, it's my lane.
Yeah. So they completely rejected it, and they claimed, and I quote, that it does not comply with the law of the sea, and they cannot produce any legal consequence for third states. So is
that true though? It doesn't comply with the law of the sea. Poseidon, does it comply with the law of the sea?
Being the god of the sea, does it comply?
Hold on. Repeat the question.
I was paying attention. This is why the sea's fucked up. The god of the seas isn't paying any attention.
It's all falling apart.
No, I didn't listen to the question because I was focusing on.
Yeah, go back. Go focus on your Instagram.
You nailed the joke, so don't worry about it.
So, anyways,
as you were, George.
So, look, here's how I feel about Turkey and this whole affair. Okay, I don't think Turkey is really interested in a deal with the EU. I think they have another agenda. And these provocations are just preemptive in order to purposely force their international partners to kind of quit on them. I think they want to be sanctioned, and to the extreme, maybe they're pushing the right buttons to even get expelled from NATO. I mean, think about it. The state controls the media. Most, if not all, opposition is either afraid to speak out or they've been jailed. They've been feeding their own propaganda to their people. In most cases, access to many social media outlets is blocked. So what if Turkey is looking for the right pretext to tell its people that they've been victimized for X, Y, Z reasons?
Pulling a Hitler.
And the only alternative is, to pick up arms and fight for their, quote unquote rights, What if what they're actually looking for is to create the very cause that will that they will use to go on the attack and completely unbalance the entire region?
Well, you're not wrong, because I told you this is stuff that they've been talking about. What's up?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
What?
So when we use the second camera for a 2-shot, it needs to be not only zoomed in.
Oh, that's so fine. That's really is that what Poseidon's complaining about?
Now.
No, but that's fine. Even
when
that,
I
that's
lean forward. I'm all
yeah, that's fine. It happens even on Rogan's podcast. You guys are crazy.
That's fine.
Don't listen to Poseidon for shit like that. Poseidon panics. He sees a message and he fucking panics. Anyways, what I want to say
is
that's
a far-fetched idea.
It's not, because I told you. Azerbaijan, Turkey, Pakistan have that whole thing. They've been talking together. Their defense ministers talk together.
Yeah.
Like I told you, 3 countries, 1 nation.
How does Pakistan fit into that?
They're hardcore. That's why they hate Indians. They're hardcore Muslims.
No. I mean, they're not part of the Turkic peoples.
They're not Turkic peoples, but they're because of the region where they're in. Because it basically extends like this. Because in his head,
it's the Silk Road.
Yeah, he thinks he's gonna have that entire region plus Greece, all that. That's the new Ottoman Empire, and they're gonna run that side of it. The Azerbaijanis and the Turks are going to come together and crush the Armenians and the Greeks, the Kurds, all that stuff, take Syria. And they wanted
the Kurds
Pakistan.
are the wild card in that. You know that, right?
They wanted Pakistan for negotiating power, because Pakistan is a nuclear power as well. So that's why they're in that that unholy union. The problem is the mainstream media, all that, they never tell you the truth till it's too late, right? Till they can't. They're not allowed to tell the truth, it seems like. So they're not even addressing shit like this, which is crazy. Someone is trying to start a new holy war, and a hardcore one, okay? Because these are not like small. It's not like some small village. These are actual countries, okay?
Big countries.
And they don't want to address it because they don't want to seem bad or racist. I don't know what the fuck is going on right now, but this could lead to another world war, because it's there's too many countries implicated in it.
It is. I believe it. I think right now it's the most fragile area in the world, and if just one little mistake happens, I mean, think of how many countries can get involved. I mean, we're talking, like you said, obviously Greece, Cyprus, Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Israel, Egypt.
That's an interesting.
You saw the Russian leader yesterday. Did I share that with you?
No.
The Russian leader, he's like the mayor of some place, and he went fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, he went off crazy.
He went fuck crazy and rant, and he goes, he got actually mad at Turkey because I guess the Turks shot down some.
They're going to be left eating kebabs in.
He says they're going to be left eating kebabs in Ankara if that's what they want. It's going to be called Constantinople again. We're going to fucking step in there. We're going to cry if that's what. Because something happened and the Russians lost their mind. They go, hold on a second. We were trying to be peaceful with you guys and you're shooting down our people.
Turkey actually pisses off the Russian Federation enough, if they infringe enough on their territorial sovereignty, I mean, that's a big problem for the entire region.
But again,
Russia's like a sleeping giant.
It's nice that Russia says that kind of stuff. It would be nice to get some kind of support.
No,
but again, I don't want it to lead to war, because I'm telling you, in war, people like Erdogan rarely pay. Sometimes they pay.
Where's the CIA?
It's regular people that are going to fucking get hurt.
Like, why haven't we, disappeared this guy?
Who?
The CIA. If he was a real threat.
Who, Erdogan?
Yeah.
Are you fucking crazy, dude? It all works in their benefit. Why do you think even Trump has come out tonight and be like, I like this guy. I like his style. Because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
I like his mustache. It reminds me of someone. I don't know
First of all, selling weapons is big. Look at, dude, even Trudeau, who's a metrosexual, should have been against Turkey. Should have been against Erdogan, right?
Well,
instead he's selling fucking arms to him. Yeah. Like, come on.
Well, now they're taking a position. I mean, looking at it, but just to go back, I mean,
they took the position, all right.
I mean, just to go back
on all fours.
We're talking about Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Egypt. Obviously, like you said, Pakistan. All of the countries in the Middle East where there's a presence of the Muslim Brotherhood. Azerbaijan is already involved in a war with Armenia. Russia might cross the line.
How come I never hear about the Muslim sisterhood of the traveling hijab? How come I never hear about that?
Bro, the sisters don't have rights, bro. What do you?
Way to step on
that. That would be a good, but that would have been a good movie.
The ceasefire.
The Muslim sisterhood.
How long did that last? 18 minutes?
Nothing.
I mean, I saw them celebrating ceasefire. They were driving around the city,
Armenians,
and then 20 minutes later, they're shelling each other. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
That didn't last.
Yeah, that didn't last long at all.
Poor Russia, they tried. We're gonna assert dominance here.
So look, you also
Russia's
have,
pissed.
You also have all the other countries in the EU that will obviously take a position. I mean, the NATO alliance will be affected, and that means that the US will have to protect its interests in the Mediterranean as well. So we're looking at, we're really looking at a potential of a large-scale affair over here.
Well, it looks like the borders are going to have to be redrawn again because now it's going to be like, for example, of course it's going to happen because Turkey. Turkey has allies in Europe too, right? So there's going to be countries that are going to fight. Germany, Albania.
Not if they have to. Albania, fine, yes.
Yeah, but look, when the shit hits the fan, man, and you're a member of you're part of a 23 member kind of alliance, and everyone is telling you, listen, you're making the move whether you like it or not.
Germany doesn't care. Germany's going to side with Turkey. I'm going to preemptively say that Germany would side with Turkey.
I don't think
Austria is going to use that as an advantage to give it to the Germans.
I don't think so because if there's enough pressure coming, well, look, now we're going to
the Vikings, all those countries, they're just going to chill back like, fuck you, idiots.
Yeah, they're going to wait though.
Except for Sweden. Sweden's going to get fucked from the inside. Sweden's fucked.
Remember, what was his name? Geert Wilders, the guy who made that movie about Islam.
No.
Was he a Swedish or a Dutch?
I don't remember.
Geert Wilders. He's like a hardcore.
I think it's Dutch. I think he's Dutch.
Okay, he's Dutch. Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's fucking. You should watch that on a movie night.
Really?
It's like this Northern European propaganda piece about how evil Islam is, but it's like done with like he hired porn stars to be actors. It's
terribly.
It's like,
but
Muhammad's
it's a different language.
And he's like, no, it's in English.
Oh.
It's called,
but with like accents.
The something of fuck. I'm gonna find it. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, I can't watch too bad foreign movies.
No. This is like gold, good, bad. Like it's watchable.
Go on.
Especially if you smoke weed.
So basically, look, I think if the pressure mounts and they're gonna have to take a position, it's very strange for me to imagine how Germany will take a position in favor of Turkey. Like it makes no sense.
They've done it twice before.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time ago.
The Second World War wasn't that long ago.
I mean, it's Germany we're talking about here.
It's Germany we're talking about here. And they've proven it now, too, when other countries are like, hey, what the fuck are we doing? We got to sanction them. And Germany's like, no, we don't feel like we should go against Turkey.
Well, no, but now, I mean, they're very upset now that the negotiations that they had started failed because of, the moronic move the guy made to send back that vessel. The foreign minister of Germany was in Greece this week, and he made a statement saying exactly that. Like, listen, we don't understand. Put your shit back. Let's go back to the negotiating table. This can only be solved politically without any conflict.
Yeah,
so
why are you acting this way?
Look, I think the tensions are mounting. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen over there, and it's strange that a research vessel is accompanied by naval escort ships, right?
Yeah. Well, the reason is because it's not. They're just trying to. What they're doing is they're flexing. They're trying to be like, look, we could go into your country and do what we want. That's all they're trying to show.
The sad truth is they've been doing microaggressions like this
for years.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is not new.
And no one even knew about it.
No, but this is different, man. I mean,
these are not microaggressions.
The guy's coming right into the middle of the Mediterranean.
I mean, microaggression is like passive aggression when we're talking. I'm like, anyway, George put on a little weight, but whatever.
Yeah.
What they're doing now, they're punching you in the face and calling you fat.
Yeah, like no, what you're saying, there were many occasions where their jets crossed into the Greek airspace. I mean, that would happen on a daily basis.
I mean, I used to, when we go to Rhodes, because my wife is from down there, like you can see Turkey across.
Yeah.
You see the jets, like they fly over the beaches, and you're like, really? Like I'm trying to chill here. You really want to flex right now?
Yeah. So and that to some extent, I mean, they ignored it. I'm like, okay, it's a common thing, but to bring in a ship to have like 4 or 5 escort ships accompanying it. Like this is look. I mean, think of it. This is. This is what fucks me up. I mean, imagine this were to happen in U.S. territorial waters.
Oh, shit.
Are you telling me that ship wouldn't have sank within 5 minutes?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But Greece...
No, but it just goes to show you how that region is so high on tension right now that even the slightest move can destabilize the whole thing. So everything has to be measured so much.
Think about what you said and the union that is the United States. If, I don't know, fucking Cuba infringed Texas's territorial waters, the entire union would the federal state level would be up in arms. Greece is a European member state.
Yeah.
The EU is effectively, I mean, not exactly the same, but a similar union to the United States.
Completely different union.
I mean, in its
Different-
in
'cause
conception.
No, but you know what the difference is?
They're
It's
not linked. They're not linked by.
They have it's different constitutions, number one, but
No, I
these are
know
different
that.
people, different beliefs.
Exactly.
So were the states originally.
No, they
Yeah,
weren't. They
but
were all
a lot of
Americans.
them were.
They were all, no, they have differences, but they were all like even now, right? They have different political beliefs. Let's say
There's
But
a
at the end of the
national.
day,
There's a
they're all
nationalist-
Americans.
There's a nationalist factor here that you have
Like
to
a guy in, let's say,
Yeah,
a
okay.
guy in Arkansas might get mad at something stupid that he saw California do, but if the Russians or anybody tries to take over California, the guy from Arkansas is gonna be like, "Fuck that! You're not gonna take over
Dawn.
California." Yeah, Red Dawn shit. So that's the difference. Whereas us, we have the problem where it's like Turkey wants to take over Greece, and then you have like Italians who are like, "We don't like this, but we don't really fight, so we're not gonna say anything."
Yeah,
and then you have Austria,
But I
who's
have
like,
so many businesses in Turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're our clients.
yeah.
We
Then
do
you have
business.
Austria, who's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Austria's like, yo, you want to send some security guards? Like, Austria's a little place compared to fucking Turkey, and they're like,
Big
no,
pockets, though, in
yeah,
Austria,
big
though.
pocket, and they're ready to fight. And then you have the Germans that are like, historical ally. Yeah, no, we don't want to go against you. No, but the Greeks fucked us twice, so no.
I mean, the Greeks have made them a lot of money in the last 10 years.
It's true. Okay, so what? So we changed the Second World War for you. Okay, we fucked you over. You were trying to take over the world. Take
still
that
rich.
L. We had to pay off so much money this past couple of years. In the end, you won economically, and you took over Europe. Stop holding that over our heads, all right? And next time, fight better.
Next time, fight better. I think this is the next time, and they are fighting better with economics.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's quickly take a look at some developments in Quebec.
That's my cue. I'm out.
Ciao. So look,
Developments.
I gotta check in on something. I'll be right back.
Go.
Look, we've already discussed, the Parti Québécois. It's a separatist party here in Quebec. They were in a leadership race for the last 9 months, which for them seemed like an eternity, right? They had faced so many COVID-related ups and downs. That affected the entire race. Finally, anyway, last Friday, the race ended and the members elected Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon as their new leader. He was chosen among other 3 candidates. So these 4 men were all seeking to replace Jean-François Lisée, who not only lost his own riding in the last elections, but he got the worst score in the party's history. It's
kind of funny.
Yeah, bringing its elected MNAs to 9 in the House. So basically right now the PQ is the 3rd opposition party in the National Assembly. A little bit embarrassing for that party that has consistently either been in government or in the opposition.
You think people are just fed up?
Look, this is a party that over the last 10 years has had 4 leaders and 3 interim leaders, right? So there has obviously been like an internal existential crisis in the party, which over the last years has caused many of its members to either disengage entirely or flat out support other parties like the CAQ or Québec Solidaire for the ones that were really the left-wingers of that party. So this new leader will have quite a few challenges in the next few months and years. Now, even though he ran for the leadership back in 2016, which he lost, obviously, he was then and he still is now very much unknown to the members. And that's something quite rare in this party because historically, the leaders that have taken over this party, they stem from really within the party. In most cases, all the previous leaders were already widely known before becoming the leaders of the PQ. So here's a few challenges that can come up for him. First of all, this guy will need to find a way to unite his troops and get them ready for 2022. All right, so 2022 is the next general election in Quebec. Like I said, there's been much division within the party that has caused its members to kind of create little clans here and there, and the loyalty to the party has often been questioned. Also, don't forget that he isn't elected in the House, right? So he can't be there physically. Therefore, he's going to have to appoint a leader. Parliamentary leader that will kind of have to take over and act on his behalf.
What does that mean?
Well, basically is that, look, you're in charge of a party, but you were never elected. So you can't be in parliament during question period.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Well, that's what it is. And it's not new. I mean, it's happened in the past. So what happens is that while you're not there, you have to appoint, for example, Poseidon and say, look, I can't be there. So I'm appointing Poseidon. He's going to be the quote unquote leader in the parliament,
party, okay.
right? While I'm not there. So that's what's going to have to happen. Unless there's a by-election somewhere, if there's a by-election before the elections 2022, and maybe if he runs and maybe if he wins it, then he can.
So can I ask you a question? Yeah. Is the PQ still their agenda? They haven't changed. They still want to separate?
Well, this is the thing. For a while, they seem to kind of hold on to that line, but they didn't want to make it their main focus because they had felt that society at large had kind of moved away from that ideology. But what happened is that you had some other, I don't want to say extremists, but some parties like the Québec Solidaire and back in the day Option Nationale, which existed, which ended up merging with Québec Solidaire, they were much more hardcore separatists, which took a lot of people away from the PQ. So that's where they kind of lost the support. And this is why I say that they've been dealing with this existential problem for years. Now, this guy, he's a hardcore separatist. This guy in his agenda is like, we got to address separatism, sovereignty, and we got to address it as soon as possible. So, look, just to go back to what I was saying, I mean, he's not in parliament right now, so there are challenges. There are chances before the next elections that there's a by-election. I'm just not sure that he's that much in a rush to get into the parliament either. I mean, and this is where the gamble happens, right? And this, we've seen it in the past. Now, because you're missing... it's a gamble because essentially by not being in parliament, you're missing out on potentially good national coverage because you're in the House. You get exposure during question period. You can take the lead in different press conferences that you're attacking the government or other opposition. So you can get that visibility by being in the House. But on the other hand, since you're not sitting in parliament, you can take advantage of that time to focus on already making gains on the ground while you're preparing for the next election. So that's also a strategy that is often used. Which situation is better? I mean, you know, it could be up for debate, of course. I mean, I don't know in their case. They probably need to build that support again on the ground. So maybe he should be going around. But at the same time, I also do think that they can score a lot of points by having him in the House to actually unite the members of Parliament and kind of get that momentum going. Another challenge for him is to realize certain really heavy statements that he made during his race. One,
was it about another race?
yeah. One, he wants to seek some sort of unity or coalition with every separatist movement or every separatist party in Quebec. So I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if they're going to start approaching Quebec Solidaire or every other separatist faction that exists. That's going to be very interesting because, and to go back to the example where, you know, in the riding where I worked, the main reason why we always kept winning is because these separatist forces were all against each other, so they were splitting each other's vote. Now, if they were to kind of make a coalition, the dynamics would be much, much more different. So if that's the case in the riding where I was, it is most certainly the case in other ridings as well, which can definitely help them. Is it realistic to think that it will happen? I'm not so sure because these parties like Quebec Solidaire has really taken over that camp, which is like, you know, that left-wing grassroots radical movement. I'm not so sure if they're willing to kind of merge with a PQ. And mind you, there's a lot of separatists that are part of the PQ that are really conservative. They're really right-wing people. So there's a huge array of ideology in the PQ. The really one thing that really kind of unites them was that the idea of sovereignty.
Do you think we're en route to a civil war?
I don't think there's going to be a civil war. I mean, look, so this is what he wants to do. I'm not sure how he's going to, if it's even possible to create that coalition, which brings us to the next challenge, which is sovereignty. He is very adamant about seeking sovereignty much sooner than later. And to make it clear for people wondering, to make Quebec into a country and leave Canada is what you're saying. Exactly. So to separate from Canada, this is not new. It's happened twice already. There were 2 referendums, which the PQ lost, both. So I'm not so sure if Quebecers are ready for that. I'm not so sure if we're still there. You know, I think that we've moved from there. And, you know... both those referendums destroyed our economy. Of course, you know, I mean, look...
They were great for Ontario's economy, though.
Yeah. Big time, you know?
Yeah. They built Toronto.
Look, I mean, I'm just wondering, you know, if they're not perhaps, you know, the Quebecers passed that idea already, you know, after 2 lost referendums. I don't know. So, I mean, you're bringing back, you know, old wounds. Is it gonna pay off in the end? I don't know, you know. But definitely some new challenges. He's a smart guy. He's young. He's 43 years old. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Your friend, the comic, what's his face?
Guy Nantel.
Guy Nantel lost in the second round.
Guy Nantel?
Yeah, so...
well, then I'm against that party now. If Guy Nantel is not leading it.
It just sucks because from the very beginning of that race, everyone just kind of dove into the whole sovereignty issue. And it was funny to listen to the debates and to even the ideas that were being circulated because they were so disconnected from reality.
Yeah.
Add the pandemic to that now.
Add the pandemic.
Who cares about
I mean, you're
right
looking
now?
at it.
Our currency will be based on accent aigus. We have the monopoly here. No one else is using them. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So there's this huge disconnect, and to some extent, I mean, they lack that credibility and they were being laughed at. Like in a lot of articles that I read, a lot of commentary that was done on radio and on TV, they were just making fun of these guys. They're like, listen, do these people understand what is happening right now in Quebec, economically, socially?
Nope.
Is that really the number one priority to talk about sovereignty? And the idea is obviously everybody just wanted to get the votes, right? They just want to tap into that sensitive vein, right? To the PQ electorate.
Sensitive that vein still is today. I don't really know.
Rural, it depends who you talk to. It depends how they were brought up.
I guess.
So, it could change. I mean, for the most part, though, kind of Canada doesn't really interfere. Like Quebec kind of does what it wants, to be honest. So it's not like a case of
for the most part, yeah. But, I mean, there's also inside of Quebec Solidaire, the separatist movement there is very different. They're not separatists because they think Quebec is a distinct society. They're anti-federalists.
Yeah.
They just hate the federal government.
Same here. Here.
So in that respect, I kind of agree with them.
Right.
You know what's funny? And this is why I miss intelligent politicians because back in the early 90s when, there was that second referendum, it was a huge movement. I don't know if you guys were old
I was
enough.
around.
I don't know if you guys were old enough to remember.
I couldn't understand what was happening.
It was incredible. And it was such a huge organized movement. I remember even our own community was involved. Everyone was so just heavily invested. It was crazy.
Poster.
So there were some big, huge rallies with some amazing speeches. I remember Jean Charest at that time. He was the leader of the Conservatives in Ottawa. He made this huge speech about the passport. I don't know if you guys remember that image. Like, do you see this? This is who you are. This is the Canadian passport.
Who is this?
Jean Charest.
Oh, Charest, okay.
And it was amazing because for a very rare time, you had the Conservatives in Ottawa that had, made this coalition with the Liberals to kind of fight the separatists in Quebec. And you had Jean Chrétien at some point that came out and said, listen, at the end of the day, if they want to separate, look, we'll take a look at it, but they're going to take Quebec as it existed before the Federation.
Yeah.
Because when Quebec entered the Canadian Federation, it wasn't what Quebec is today.
Yeah.
So we're going to have that discussion. Basically, if you want to separate, it's pretty much Montreal, the greater Montreal area, right?
Yeah.
The rest wasn't part of Quebec, at that time. So it's like, look, you want to separate? Okay, we'll go to what Quebec was, because everything else was...
I never knew he did that. That's a smart play.
Yeah.
Look, man.
That's where I found out about it. Like, I remember I was young, but I was like, oh, fuck, that's interesting. Because he goes, okay, you'll get it, but not what you have now that the federal government gave as this is Quebec. You'll get what Quebec was, and Quebec was not that big.
City and Montreal, basically. And the land between.
Lower Canada.
Lower Canada.
What we learned in school about Lower Canada. So I just found it interesting, right?
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the natural resources that I would think an independent Quebec could use doesn't really exist in that Quebec. So Canada would just take over those lands.
They keep all the hydro.
Look, that would be such a huge legal battle. Like, imagine winning a referendum to separate, and it takes 10 years to actually even achieve it if you achieve it.
And when you achieve it, you don't get nowhere near what you actually have right now. So the resources that you're using right now, you can't even depend on because they're not yours. Because you separated, you've given your best resources to the country that you're separating from. It would be fucking crazy.
But also, here's the other thing that people don't realize. Even if there's a referendum in Quebec that is in favor to separate from Canada, it still doesn't end there. The rest of the Canadian provinces have to vote in a 2/3 majority to allow Quebec to separate.
Which they never would.
Maybe they will because
they're pretty fed up with Quebec.
Yeah, exactly. They're so fed up. They're gonna be, you know what? Fuck off. Just leave. You know what I mean? They might do it, or they may not. I don't know.
Cheese
you know what I mean?
Fuck off.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
So look, it's not that simple. When we think that Quebec is gonna separate and they're gonna win a referendum, and it's not over the next day.
No.
You know what I mean? There's a whole procedure. I mean, look what happened with the UK when they wanted to exit the European Union. It took, 2 years to negotiate? And it was pretty easy because it's not one country, right?
Yeah.
It's just to figure out, the agreement.
You know what? That's interesting. You bring that up because it's funny how the media is basically a political wing, right? Because same thing with the UK. All that should have been said is because they needed their sovereignty. They didn't want people in Brussels that weren't elected controlling their interests, right? And instead, the media, because they were being fucking bought and paid for. They were painting it as, if you want to separate from the EU, you're a racist, you're a xenophobic, if you want your independence. Same thing here I noticed with Trump, right? So Trump, when what he was running on was super pro-American nationalist, right? Like, USA, we're going to get through this together, we're the best. So what did they do? They're like, yo, his strength is he's pro-American flag. Fuck it, make him a Russian asset. Destroy the one thing he was going for, like the one thing that he was good at, you know? And then they had that whole zero evidence, but let's push it for 4 years type of thing. So the media does that kind of shit. And it's crazy because then that becomes a narrative. And I wonder in history if that's the way it's going to be remembered. Is it going to be remembered when the UK left that they wanted their own sovereignty? They didn't like the fact that another governing body that they didn't elect was ruling? Or they're going to be like, they were so racist they left. But, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's not about their sovereignty because they always had their sovereignty, right? They were just part of a federation. And at the same time, don't forget that the UK elects members from the UK to represent them to the to the EU, right?
Yeah, but when the EU makes decisions that the people that you elected to go there don't agree with, and then you still have to buy into it, that's the problem. That's what happened to Greece. So right, we were powerless because like, yeah, you're in the EU. Well, it doesn't matter because they keep voting in stuff that's against our interest. Yeah. So even though we're in the EU is the one fucking us.
Anyway. Let's finish it with bringing it back to Ottawa, to our favorite politician, because we've neglected him quite a bit in the last couple of weeks.
He's been pretty quiet.
Justice Trudeau.
He
got embarrassed by Poilievre the other day.
Oh, did you see that thing? I
let the clown that was behind him stand up and it just gets up.
The way the clip is done is just so perfect.
Because he gets up at the perfect time and people are like this, like, "Oh, you dummy! Why'd you get up, you fucking dummy?" He's like, "Yes, hello, I am said clown."
And he even knows it, like he's laughing, right? He's like, "Yeah, that was a good one. You got me."
I mean, if he's laughing at the joke, respect. I give him that much.
Yeah, but he's laughing at the joke, but it cost us millions of fucking dollars. Like he's like, ha, Canadian taxpayer.
200 million to be specific.
Yeah, it cost us a lot of money.
Failing casino business, anyway. Yeah. So, anyways, there's been many efforts in the last couple of days and a lot of pressure from opposition parties to have an anti-corruption parliamentary committee authorized and created in order to pursue the investigation surrounding the government's dealings with the We Charity. Now, for those that are perhaps new or don't remember, earlier this year, Justin Trudeau had announced that he was removing from Service Canada the responsibility it always had to organize the government's summer volunteer program for the youth, and instead handed over for nearly $1 billion to an independent organization called the We Charity. So almost immediately, there was a series of controversies that started to come out publicly around the personal involvement of Justin Trudeau and his family, which they had with the organization. Also, the personal involvement that his Minister of Finance, Bill Morneau, and his family had with the organization. So the whole thing blew up to enormous proportion, to the point where the organization pulled out from the deal.
And then shut down, no?
They shut down. Bill Morneau had to resign. The organization, like you said, lost nearly everything in Canada and is currently in the process of liquidating all their assets. There was a special hearing that was initiated in the Finance Committee to look into this matter, only to be shut down during the summer when Justin Trudeau prorogued Parliament. So if everyone's wondering why that was done, that was specifically done just so they can stop that whole process from happening. Now, since Parliament picked up again at the end of September, following the confidence vote that was granted by the NDP, the other opposition parties have agreed to pressure the creation of this committee in order to pick up from where they left, because the actual Finance Committee is no longer investigating in the We Charity scandal. It's a new Parliament session, so they're looking at different things. So even the NDP is actually looking into it, and it seems that they're close to an agreement to actually get this thing underway. Now, of course, Justin Trudeau has been on the defensive all week, and he claims that there's nothing left to say and that everything was already discussed in the previous parliamentary session. He also claims that his government was transparent and handed over thousands of pages at the Finance Committee as they had requested. So, perhaps, though, he has forgotten that all those documents were entirely redacted.
It's all black.
It was all blacked out everywhere. You couldn't see anything. So this is actually a pretty significant move by the opposition. So let me just remind everyone that the Trudeau government required the support of the NDP in order for the current parliamentary session to take place, because he leads a minority government that can collapse at any time when and if, the opposition decides. So that course of action so far was neglected because the main opposition party, the Conservative Party, had no leader. That has since changed, and the creation of this committee can be the door to potentially cause the government to fall, especially if it gets approved, and more so if all the hidden information about the We Charity scandal comes to light. Now, I was already convinced that we'd already be in a campaign as we speak.
That's what you told me, yeah.
I thought for sure, the speech from the throne won't get approved. I thought for sure we'd be in the middle of an election. I was wrong. I never expected the NDP of all parties to support the government.
They're duplicitous cocksuckers. I think that's the legal term.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's all these interests in play here, but if this move were actually to go through, it would be a tremendous challenge for Justin Trudeau, and it would be hard to imagine that we don't fall into an election before next summer. I mean, so, look, let's just say that things are heating up in Parliament throughout this session, all the way until Christmas. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about. So I'm just curious, because if this happens, if this is another independent committee, I'm not so sure they can redact the documents. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna. What is that?
Nothing, bro. Just keep going.
It's okay.
Fucking someone's shaking the whole place down.
It wasn't that intense.
Wasn't that intense at all?
Okay.
You okay?
I don't know. This guy's laughing over it. I'm not sure what's happening.
Because you got terrified. Look,
No, he's laughing at the chat.
Okay.
oh yeah.
Yeah, they're being Discordy.
They're being dicks.
They're looking over my shoulder at my phone.
Oh,
It's pretty funny.
shit.
Yeah.
Halsan's on top of it.
Halsan found gay porn.
So we're gonna have a lot of shit. So we're gonna have a lot of shit.
Don't make that.
We're gonna have a lot of shit to talk about all the way until Christmas. So it's gonna be interesting.
You know what I think? I think hit that music. It's promo time.
Oh yeah. So guys, if you didn't know already, you could find George. He's terrible at this. He's not good at his job. He's come on, Poseidon. You could do better.
I want to do it slowly.
You didn't do it at all. Like I started talking, I was into it, and you had stuff.
I want to bring
Hey,
it nice and slow.
No, stop making excuses. You're bad at your job, especially today.
No, man.
Just mute us again. Just do it like you did before. We don't need to talk. So guys, if you didn't know, you could catch George Rizos on his own podcast, the Backstage Podcast, where he talks to people backstage. It's a very cool podcast. He mostly has politicians on. If you care about Canadian politics, there's the podcast to listen to.
And it's not actually backstage.
It's not actually. It's never backstage. In his house.
The basement.
If you are a parent, if you are a father, he has another podcast, which is his bigger podcast. It's called Just Us Dads, where he gets together with a bunch of other daddies, and they talk about what life is like having kids and being this close to pulling a Chris Benoit on them. It is a good podcast. It is humorous. It is informative. Just Us Dads, available wherever podcasts are sold and downloaded. And head over to patreon.com/Pantelis. You won't find Daddy podcast there, but you will find In Bed with Poseidon every Saturday at 4, the live stream. You'll find the Pantelis podcast, the Pantelis bonus casts, first and only, actually bonus casts only for patrons. That's where we do the Halloween Spookfest, ongoing this whole month. Every Friday night, 9 p.m., only for patrons. We watch movies together. They're of the horror variety. Last week was Halloween, the original one, 1978. Great time that we had. Everyone that was in there had a good time. This week, it's the original Nightmare on Elm Street, because Poseidon hasn't seen it, and I want him to watch all the classics.
What?
You haven't seen it? Well, you're going to watch it this fucking Friday with us, 9 p.m., Nightmare on Elm Street, me and Poseidon, Halloween Spookfest. Come for the spooks, stay for the hang. And by the way, it's much less spooky than you would imagine. We make everything funny. Like even the Halloween last week, there was some spooky moments, but we unspooked it by saying ridiculous things. So it's just a fun hang. So come hang out with us. Patreon.com/Pantelis. Phil Balabanos over here has his own YouTube channel. Check that out. There's a link in the description. There's also a link in the description for this guy's stuff, right, George? So don't you worry about that.
Descriptions, guys.
Poseidon is the Poseidon69 on Twitter and Instagram. All right, let's bring it back to the morning show.
Mornings with George Pantelis and Phil.
Yeah, Poseidon on the Bobo board.
Board.
The Bobo board.
What's that sound they always do?
Oh yeah,
that's the one.
air
That's the
horn.
one. Check it out. This is what they did while I was answering someone.
Oh, they were looking at your messages?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, I was answering someone from the Discord.
Oh, shit.
How funny would it be if you were looking at porn?
I mean, why would I be in a room with 4 other men at like 11 o'clock in the morning looking at porn?
I don't know.
Question is, why not?
Poseidon, can you answer? Oh, he already did. Okay. Well then. So what are we doing now? George never
sorry.
stays this long. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, this is weird. George.
fucking
You want to
weird.
hold my hand or some shit? What the fuck's going on here?
Go to my office and call in. It's fucking weird.
He Skypes in. We're like, George is joining us live from the
Down
office.
the hall.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about it on the way here. I'm like, what if they don't have everything set up
No,
for
we're
the
good.
third mic or
No,
whatever?
we're set up for you.
No,
Don't
but I
set up.
thought, you know, how funny would it be if I'm in either your office or in your studio, you guys are here, and I'm Skyping from just 2 doors down.
That would be funny.
If I had tested positive for Corona, that was my plan, to come in the cover of night.
You would
and-
still come in.
I mean, just go straight into my office, not touch
Skype in.
anything, and Skype in. Yeah,
He tested negative.
yeah, I'm negative. Negative.
Again, for the, what, 3rd time?
Second.
Second for coronavirus.
I mean, don't make it sound like I've been crazy.
positive for the HIV though. So it's not all fun and games here.
It's for the Heb.
Who's positive for the HIV?
I have the Heb.
Oh,
The Heb.
the
Why are you
heebie-jeebies.
freaking out?
Because
Nips?
people think I'm Jewish.
Do you remember a couple of years ago when the former Tsipras was in government in Greece, there was this public announcement with his health minister.
When he was smoking.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
he's always smoking. So he's
You gotta
making,
be healthy, boys.
so he's making this announcement about, you know, funds that they're going to allocate to whatever different things. And he's talking about HIV awareness.
Oh, no.
And he's like, he's talking Greek, and he's like, la 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 la, we're gonna give it to the HIV, and the journalists were like, excuse me, what? The HIV.
He was talking about the HIV. Is that what he was saying?
So the journalists are like, it's called HIV, and doesn't he start blasting the journalists for correcting him? He's like, fine, you will have it your way, the HIV then.
This is the same
what are you
guy
talking
who,
about?
while smoking in the Greek parliament, whatever it's called, the Vuli,
Yeah, the parliament.
while smoking, was passing a law, announcing the law at the press conference that you could no longer smoke.
I'm not
in
sure
the-
you're allowed to smoke in the parliament.
I mean, they still do. I've seen it.
No,
I think you should be
Not in the
allowed.
last year, but I've seen it.
I
in
think you should
Greece?
be. You know why? Because the parliament should be the place where they're kind
Men
of,
can do business.
No, because they're they're supposed to be in charge of dictating your freedoms, right? And it should be the freest place. Technically, you should be allowed to be free and smoke.
No.
Maybe even a pipe. I would.
pipe is
I
a
would
different
love
situation.
watching a politician, like maybe in the Senate, you see a politician come in. Hear ye, hear ye. I would love that. I would love that.
Remember fucking René Lévesque?
Yeah, back in the
The
day.
man was a nicotine patch.
Yeah.
He was yellow.
was
You
yellow.
just can't tell because they're all black and white, the photos from back then.
It was just smoke
But
all
if
the
you
time.
look at him, he looks like if there was a chapter in a medical book about what can happen to you if you smoke physically, like aesthetically, it's René Lévesque. Greasy, tired, just bad.
Yeah,
Too
with
much
an
cigarette.
ashtray. With a,
This is my favorite René Lévesque. Le Québec, c'est une... Switches cigarettes and he continues. He doesn't even use a lighter. He just has a constant chain of fire going.
Oh, that's
It's fucking-
amazing.
no, but it
I mean,
was,
didn't he die of emphysema?
I don't know what he died. I don't know what he died of, but
Try
it was
to look
very,
it up.
But it was very common back in the day.
Yeah, of course,
They
we
would wake
didn't
up in
know.
the morning, have a couple scotch, a couple
Yeah.
shots of scotch, and go to work. You know, what's
When
fun?
men were men.
I mean, Sparrow's drinking right now.
Yeah, that is true. That's how Spiro wakes up.
You know,
He's
it's
cigarette
crazy.
and scotch. Yeah.
It's funny because when I started working in 2007, the following year in 2008, the Speaker of the House, which is, you know, he was an old timer, he was announcing, you know, his resignation. He was resigning basically, right? He was stepping down. Michel Bissonnette. He was elected in the East End of Montreal. Been there for years. Everyone trusted him. He had
Old school Quebecois.
yeah, and he was always the president, the chairman of the parliament, right? The chair of the parliament. So he's resigning now, and he calls in 2 people to, you know, as you know, to testify, you know, because he was signing his thing.
Resignation letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, as witnesses.
Yeah, as witnesses. So he calls in my boss and another guy, which were rookies, right? They had been there for a year, whatever. So they go into his office. This is like 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. Doesn't the guy crack open a bottle of scotch? He's like, "All right, guys, here, have a drink." They're like, "What are you talking about, man? It's 8 in the morning." He's like, "Yeah, what's the point? Are you guys gonna drink or not?" And they're like,
I didn't know we elected homosexuals, and he's all mad.
they're like, "I just thought you wanted us to come inside and get on like a 2-minute thing." You know, he's like, "No, have a seat. Let's have a drink." They're like, "Yeah, I don't think so. It's 8 in the morning."
Those old schoolers, though, there's some funny part to them, but there's just something likable about that. Like just it's not the time, it's the situation.
The je m'en foutisme.
No, but this
No,
guy.
because there's him. He wasn't there because of the time. He wasn't thinking it's 8 in the morning. I'm gonna have scotch. He was thinking
I'm at the office.
I'm at the office. I'm resigning. I'm having scotch. So the time was not a factor. He was
yeah.
Interstellar. Time was a figment of our imagination.
But there's so many stories. Obviously, we can't say them on this thing. But
I mean, we could say anything we want here.
I wouldn't.
By the
But,
way,
yeah.
he died in Verdun of a heart attack.
I mean,
I don't know what's worse.
René
I've almost had heart attacks just
In
thinking about
Verdun?
being in Verdun. Yeah.
I mean, Verdun's pretty cool now. Seriously, there's some
Keep
cool
laughing.
stuff around there.
Yeah, but back in the 80s.
Laugh track, hit it.
Back
Yeah,
in the
little
80s.
Burgundy
What
gets
was,
shot.
what was Verdun like, you know?
It was gangster.
You know, there's stories about René Lévesque actually driving drunk and hitting some,
Mike Ward was telling me he has
some homeless guy.
Really?
He hit a homeless guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said something like, his excuse was like, "Well, what do you want? I was drunk, bro. This guy came out of nowhere." Like, it was very, like, yeah, the blame was
not
on.
our fault.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, he seems like an interesting guy. He seemed like he would have been an interesting guy. I was too young to really enjoy him.
I obviously we were kids, man.
Yeah.
Before.
I don't like that they named streets after him because they were easier to remember before.
Not for
talking
me.
about Dorchester.
Dorchester, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even like the name Dorchester. I prefer
Dorchester.
René Lévesque.
Well, you know that past a certain point west of
still-
Montreal,
In Westmount, it's still Dorchester. Yeah, the fucking
They would
Westmount
never,
strong.
They would never accept it. But look, I mean, at the same time, it's just to honor politicians regardless of party affiliation. I don't have a problem with that, you know, naming René Lévesque. And I mean, look,
I mean, yeah, but to take street that like is a dumb name, like University, for example, is what Robert Bourassa.
Robert Bourassa.
Did it really need to be? There's like fucking. It's University.
I think that
Yeah,
it
you're
is.
right.
It is.
You know what I
It's
mean?
a university, exactly. But I think they could have found a better street for
They could
Robert
have picked
Bourassa.
the other McGill. Why is there two fucking McGill streets within 3 blocks of
No,
each
but
other?
like a guy.
Is there two McGill
There's
Streets?
McGill College and
And
McGill.
McGill.
Come on.
Oh,
fuck
yeah,
off.
it's true.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make
you're
sense.
right. You're right. Yeah.
What about Beaver Hall Hill?
What is Beaver Hall, first of all? I always hated that. Beaver Hall. That's where beavers get together and they decide beaver policy. Like,
Yeah, it's,
We're an inclusive society.
Yeah,
Even
beavers-
the beavers matter.
Hasn't been a beaver on the island of Montreal in like, I don't know, 3 generations, but whatever, sure.
It's more raccoons now. They should change it.
By the way,
Coontown,
outside of my
Coontown.
building, I have rabbits that live there.
Oh, me too, actually.
It's so cute.
They look delicious.
I took a photo of one the other day. I was thinking of stealing it, but then I was
photo?
scared because it's the rabbit.
The rabbit.
But then I thought it's a wild rabbit. It might attack my dog.
Don't fuck with
Yeah,
the
no,
rabbit.
you want a bunny, not a rabbit.
These are hares. You know
I thought you wanted to eat it.
No, what am I, a savage?
They're delicious.
What are you talking about?
Rabbit's delicious.
man.
it's like the
Nice
main
rabbits,
protein
nice.
of our
It's too
mountain
gamey.
people.
It's too gamey. I
It's
don't
not
like
gamey
rabbit
at all.
It's very gamey. I don't like
I don't
rabbit.
find it. It has little bones. It's annoying.
I don't like rabbit.
I like it. I think
I
it's
do
tasty.
like it. Yeah.
You think it's tasty, George? You're a goddamn savage.
Like this was the food of the sustenance of my ancestors. There's no fucking cows walking around the fucking southern Peloponnese.
Peloponnese? He loves saying Peloponnese, I've noticed.
Peloponnese.
Big fan of saying
The island.
Peloponnese.
The island of
Yeah, he also thinks it's an island. Yo, I've been.
It is an island.
Did you guys
Technically.
news? We're gonna talk about entertainment news.
Oh shit.
Yeah, have you guys watched any of the new Netflix originals that have come out? Like
Such as
the what is it? The Haunting of Bly Manor.
the Blumhouse series.
It's not Blumhouse.
Is it? Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Sorry.
No, I have
Did you watch a house on the Haunting of Hill House?
I don't watch scary
I haven't
movies.
I haven't seen anything in 3 weeks. I've actually lost my subscription to all of these things because with all the crazy thing that happened with my Facebook
Oh
page.
yeah, when your identity.
I had to
fraud.
I had to cancel my credit card, and these fuckers at Visa, I still haven't guys. It's been 3 weeks. I've been waiting for my visa. I called to cancel it, and she's like, "Do you want me to put it in the mail?" I'm like, "No, you need to send this right away. What's the fastest you can get here?" She's like, "We can send it express. You'll get it in 2 days."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, perfect."
That's great.
I stayed home 2 days, did nothing. I thought the guy's gonna come and ring because I asked. I'm like,
No, it comes
if I'm
by
not
mail.
home, do they leave? And she goes, no, because you need to sign. I'm like, okay, perfect.
Oh, okay.
I stayed home 2 days, did nothing. Okay, I was waiting.
I mean, you do that anyways.
Not really. So it never showed up. So I'm like, oh fuck. The next day I call them. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? She's like, oh no, it was sent regular mail. I'm like, come on, man. So they're like, by the end
week.
So by the end of the week you'll get it. End of the week comes, I call back. I'm like, I still haven't gotten. Well, technically it's 10 business days, so wait until the beginning of next week. This was last week now. I'm waiting. So I call back third time. They're like, yeah, I'm not so sure, but look, give it until the end of the week.
If not, we'll send you another one.
This is until Friday.
That's crazy.
So I'm waiting. Monday was a holiday. Yesterday, Tuesday,
Did you confirm with them that the address they mailed it to wasn't in Vietnam?
yeah, send it back to the hackers.
Fucking
That'd be
Viet Cong.
amazing.
Yeah, here,
hackers-
complimentary credit card.
George Sandrizos. Ha, and he grabs it.
So yesterday I called him back, and the guy's like, "Well, we got it back. I'm not sure exactly what happened. It was mailed, and we got it back. Maybe it was
That's
put in the
funny.
wrong mail." But I'm like, maybe you guys should fucking send me a card now. You know what I mean? So now they put it back in the mail.
Fucking bullshit.
So yeah, no. But the frustrating thing is that I have so many things that were coming out of that card that it's like for my business, man.
I
You
mean,
know
the
what It's
idea of changing a card like that sounds like a nightmare. That's why I have everything routed through my PayPal.
Yeah, but your PayPal, you link it to your bank account or to your credit card?
It's linked to multiple different places that I can choose where the payment.
Because that's what I had,
So
but the PayPal was always linked to my credit card. So
but he only has one credit card. George doesn't believe in many credit cards.
I mean, like it goes to my it goes to my bank account, my business. It's linked to the cards that I use. Yeah. When we used to have Xenospace, I had a Xenospace card for the business. But that way, I always know that I'm protected. And if I need to switch something, it's a quicker, faster fix.
My PayPal was always linked to my credit card just because it's easier for me to track what's coming out. Because if you have it linked to the bank, there's so many things that you can't really see. So I always had the credit card. So obviously that too now is useless.
Yep.
So all the subscription channels, Disney, Amazon, whatever, Netflix, all that stuff. I don't know. They're on YouTube, I think. I don't know.
You gotta be careful with that YouTube shit. There's some scary shit on there for kids.
Because you can watch this on YouTube. I'm surprised that so you never saw The Haunting of Hill House. That was a good series.
I've seen it.
But you didn't actually watch it. You saw clips.
I started and I was like, I don't want to watch this. Too
Talking
scary.
to the mic.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. Yeah. It just I don't like scary movies.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay. Look, I'll give you that. That The Haunting of Hill House was actually scary. It had a lot of good scary moments. It had that one episode that was amazing, that single shot thing where like
that I've seen
8 minutes or whatever. Remember?
Seen.
Yeah, I showed you. I was like, have you seen this, Phil?
Yes.
And Phil's like, I'm not gonna be impressed. And then Phil saw it. He's like,
I'm impressed.
Yeah, Phil's like, you're correct. That is very badass. It was amazing. The second one I feel might have been a different production team because it felt not as impressive and it's not really. You think it's horror because there's a couple of but then you realize
like the second season or second episode.
It's the second. It's the second season, I guess. It's basically. It's supposed to be a series, but it's not really about the same thing at all. It's another completely different story.
Like, what's it called? Used to be American
Horror Story. It's the same type of shit.
Okay.
But this one, the second one, isn't actually a horror thing. It's a love story. You just don't realize it till a little bit later. You're like, wait a second.
Spoil it, dude.
No, just so people know, so they don't waste their time.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't feel, there was some moments that were good, but it really didn't feel as strong. I felt like they phoned it in a lot. And I was like, I was a little disappointed. Like, this is the time, it's Halloween. This was the time to come out with a strong horror series, especially because The Haunting of Hill House had some fucked up scenes. And you know what happens to it? It turns into, halfway through the series, it turns into Interstellar. And I noticed
that's kind of cool.
And I noticed that with a couple of horror stuff, it literally turns into, no, man, Ghost, even Insidious. No, man, it's not Ghost. It's really a different time, and it's not really Ghost. It's you, but back in time, and you're trying to, and I'm like, are you fucking with me right now? And then at least by the end of this one, it's still kind of a ghost. Like there's some time stuff, and then it's kind of like there's a ghost story, but it's not really a ghost. It's a love story.
Spiritual echoes through dimensions and shit.
This one, no. This one, there's a bit of spirit. Like your mind is, you're really, time is kind of, it's not linear. You're jumping from time to time because it's in your head. Anyways. Man. But it's just, then there's a bit of a ghost. Like, oh, there's still ghosts. The first one, Haunting of Hill House, I think it did that. It did the whole jumping.
Have you seen the trailer? Now you said ghost so many times. Have you seen the trailer for the new Ghostbusters?
Yeah, the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I saw the old trailer you're talking about that made us sad. That it was like smoke. It's like you find their equipment.
Yeah, that one.
That came out like a year ago.
I know, but I just remembered it now because I don't know why.
Yeah, but Rick Moranis got punched in the face last week.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, in New York City.
But
you saw that?
Can we just...
They punched him in the face,
Can we just be honest with ourselves and with everyone? At some point in the 90s, didn't you just want to punch Rick Moranis in the face?
I don't mind.
You were mad at him. I like the guy. But didn't he seem like a really punchable character? You're like,
he seemed like you want to give him a wedgie and take his lunch money, but I wouldn't have punched him in the face. Especially the guy who punched him in the face was wearing an I Love New York shirt.
He didn't love Rick Moranis.
Yeah, he loves New York, but he hates the Ghostbusters. That's this guy. But it's...
the scene where he introduces himself in Ghostbusters 2 at the party is the greatest Rick Moranis,
I don't remember.
Oh, maybe I had a friend, but she turned into a dog. He's just going on. I can't do it right now. I haven't heard it in too long. He talks about accounting. It just all mixes up, and then he gets sucked into that bedroom. Fucking Rick Moranis, man.
Rick Moranis was a good dude, man. He left all of Hollywood because his wife died, and
I remember that.
Wanted to take care of his kids, be an actual.
Good for him.
Yeah, he gave up a lot. He gave up a lot of money, because he was at his high point, and he was at his peak. And instead of taking advantage, he decided to put his family first. And now he comes out of the darkness and he gets punched in the fucking face.
I mean, considering I just said I wanted to punch him, if you're watching this, Mr. Moranis, I'm a big fan, and you did the right thing. I'm sorry I said that.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
I'm a big enough man to know when I've said something out of line.
Isn't that the guy that was what was that movie there that
Honey, I Shrunk
Ghostbusters?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes, that was Rick Moranis.
Oh, that was such a good movie.
And then Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
Yeah, they get gigantic.
That's the Middle Eastern version.
Yeah.
That was a very good movie, man. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Why'd you die?
Because Mike sent me something that's going to upset Poseidon, but I'll show it to him later.
But now I want to know.
No, I'll show it to you later.
Fine.
I think it might stop your wet dreams.
Oh, no. You still get those? I'm just asking for a friend. Oh, guys, I can't see it either, so don't feel bad.
Wet dreams over, right?
Dry nights.
I had seen that, I think, already.
right. Yeah,
it
it
didn't
bother you?
really faze me.
Oh well,
I don't really care.
That's he does. That's
No, I
disgusting.
won't.
But yeah, no, I'm with Phil too, man. I'm not a big fan of the horror movies.
It's not that I'm not. I'm actually a huge fan of horror movies. The problem is my mind can't disconnect from the movie after. So then I go to bed and I'm sleeping and then I'll just get like, what the fuck was that?
I remember liking The Ring a lot. Now, I don't know if that was
I never
considered
really
a scary
liked-
movie.
it was.
It
But
was considered a scary movie because people have a fear of young Asian girls with black hair. There's
I don't.
That was creepy.
Yeah, why do you have to go all pedophile? The younger the better, bro. What are you talking about? There's something scary about a young girl that says nothing and she has her hair in front of her face. You always think demonic possession. You know, it's very, very scary. But it's not the same with young boys. For some reason, young boys, like even The Omen, right? Like Damien, he's
just cute.
scary. No, he's not cute. He's scary, but
I mean, scary,
it's a
but-
different type of scary. It's aggressive scary, like he might flip the table. But the for some reason, the little girl one feels always more demonic, like creepy.
So for me, the scariest, like growing up, I don't know if it's still the scariest, but the movie that scared me the most,
Boys in the Hood.
Prince of Darkness. You ever seen Prince of
Never
Darkness?
seen it.
It's I think it's a Wes Craven adaptation.
I like West.
They're like in this New York monastery, and the son of Satan is rising through this woman who's pregnant. I mean,
Are you talking about Rosemary's Baby?
No. This is like straight up like
There's so many of those.
they open a hell
so many
mouth.
movies that
But
have
this is
that.
like a classic, and I rented it thinking it was something
Wait, what's it called?
What's it called?
Prince of Darkness. I'm gonna
I
look
may
it
have seen it.
up. I'll
It
show you
rings
movie
a bell.
poster. It is like it basically what happens is the demon, the vibe, whatever, the evil. I heard that too.
Someone yelling or something.
Yeah. Takes over their minds and like manifests their true fears and turns them. I mean, there's so many creepy, and it has like a zombie element because like the spirit leaves and goes into the city and they surround this monastery. Fucking as a child,
Yeah, I think
I
I've
was
seen
like
that.
11. I was like, I shouldn't have put this in.
We should watch that.
But it was so dark in the room, I was too scared to get off the couch and walk through the darkness to stop it.
Oh, fuck, that's creepy. Yeah.
I just sat there.
Back in the day when
There
there were no
were
remotes.
remotes, yeah.
And, like, I hope they invent something to solve this issue.
My grandfather did. It was a stick with a notch in it.
He
Genius.
invented the first remote.
Yeah.
I like, the thing is, I like scary movies. I like that feeling.
I don't know. I like zombie stuff. Zombie movies don't scare me, so I'll watch them.
But you don't like them because the zombies. You love the apocalyptic survival.
Yeah,
How we're
yeah.
gonna make it through this. You like that
I
aspect
like
because
the
I like
human
that.
tragedy element of it too. It's interesting.
I like that aspect too. How we're gonna
I'm
survive
a
this.
huge Supernatural fan. Like the series, even though it's been garbage for seasons at a time, I've been watching.
They're
it
at
for
season
so long.
47 now, I believe.
Like 14 or something, 15 years.
Yeah, it's gotta stop.
I
mean, I think it's ending.
A minute of it.
They were good. No, I like Supernatural in the beginning. Like I watched maybe the first 5 seasons or some shit on Netflix at one point. But then after a while, I got sick of it because I'm like,
caring,
it doesn't end.
No, it doesn't.
Like you're making fake endings. Like we do this and we save the world. Okay, we did that. Well, actually, to save the world, you gotta do this. You gotta do this. Like, okay, can we save this world or not? Like,
I mean, I think in the current season they're fighting God or something like.
well, he deserves a stern talking to. He's been fucking around for a while.
He got it.
Yeah.
I mean, the show became so meta that they were making meta jokes about being meta, like season 8, and I was like, wow, what's happening here?
yeah.
And then it came back.
Like
Like the storyline fixed again.
What pissed me off about that show was they died like both of them died like 87 fucking
I mean, it's
times.
14 years. I got to die a few times.
Bro, like, but at some point, bro, like, just fucking stay there.
I really like Jensen Ackles. Like, I think he's a great actor. Not in Supernatural, but I've seen him do other things, and he just seems like an interesting dude. Like, I'd hang out with him. I think
Jet
that's what
Set
it is.
Ankles.
Jensen Ackles, the guy who plays the older brother.
I like that guy.
Yeah, even Jared Padalecki. He used to be on Gilmore Girls. I remember both of them. They were on Smallville before. They were on, what was the CW called before it became the CW? You remember? Warner Brothers something, no?
WB.
Kids W, not Kids WB. I can't remember.
CW.
George's kids are too young and he's too old. That's what's happening.
You remember George? Nickelodeon, all that stuff.
Nickelodeon, the Japanese one, eh?
No. In Greece, it's the funniest thing because they have Nickelodeon TV and it's Greek announcers, right?
Yeah.
So it's showing the logo and it's like, Simerasto Nickelodeon. And it always makes me laugh. I'm like, why do they say it like that?
One of my favorite things I ever saw in Greece was in 1999. It was noon. I was watching Baywatch. Because during siesta time, they put on Baywatch in the 90s. And there was an ad for this backpack umbrella. It was the dumbest thing. It just kept going, Ombrellino. I was like, this is so
Ombrellino.
weird. So weird.
I like Greek commercials because they don't give a fuck.
Like grab another bottle of water.
It's 4:00 in the afternoon. We got to sell these toys. All right, bring out the tits. That'll move a couple of boxes.
I remember I was in the village. I was right before I went to bed, and I think I had ran out of data on my SIM card, or I was waiting to get a SIM card. And you know those late night fucking infomercials with the chicks and the number.
I just remembered a song in my head, but I forgot what the company was. Do you remember here? It used to be on CTV all the time. If you watched, because CTV used to put movies at midnight after the news. Do you remember? Like actual Hollywood movies. So back in the day in high school, it was the best place. I remember I didn't have to rent them. They were like good movies, like from the 90s. They were, you watched them 2000. And they used to have this fucking commercial, bro, that it got stuck in my head and I would sing it. You can have a really good time. You remember that? Call now. And they would have the, I remember the you can have a, and I would sing it in my head. I'd be like, why is this in my head? And I remember every commercial break, it would fucking play it, and they would have a lot of commercial breaks in 2 hours, right? Every fucking commercial break was, you can have a really good time. Call now. And it would just have a number. Like, what is this? Like, how do you, like, what's going on?
I muted myself. But in Greece, they're very explicit. Like those commercials about the chicks.
What were they saying?
No, like they show their tits. Like they're here like in
they
the
just
States,
sing.
they have their they're at least wearing something to cover some parts. But in Greece, it's very like you can see everything. And I remember like I couldn't watch porn because I didn't have data. I'm like I'm switching the channels and I land on it.
He was watching
like,
infomercials.
Fuck it. I jerked off to an infomercial.
He also jerked off to another infomercial back in the day, ShamWow. That's how he got started in his info jacking. It was ShamWow. He's like, it really does clean up every mess.
The moment it's the way he says wow. ShamWow.
You know what's funny about you jerking off to him? He
I
went
didn't
to
actually
jail.
jerk off to that, by the way.
You know, he went to jail for beating up hookers.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was arrested for beating up a hooker. Yeah. He ShamWowed her right in the fucking temple.
Yo, big win. I found my daughter's juice box in my backpack.
You stole your daughter's juice
No,
box?
she forgot it. She fucking finders keepers, bro.
She's a child.
She doesn't work.
Show what you stole, Phil. Show it. Show it to the camera what you stole.
It's a
Goddamn
juice box.
thief.
Sure, pie
This
can.
episode brought to you by oranges.
No, it's not. This episode is brought to you by Cialis. Wake up and stay up.
Yeah, well, I mean, and after, keep hydrated. There we go.
Tropicana wants us to run their ads. They better fucking come with money.
I didn't say Tropicana. I said
A
oranges.
bag of money. And then every day here, we're going to be giving orange juice to our guests. Would you do that? Would you drink our propaganda orange juice if we had it?
I love orange juice.
See?
Tropicana.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what I'd love to do. But for the horror stuff, I want to stick on it because it's Halloween. You don't like, because you have kids now, George. I don't know if you do it. You don't like to watch horror stuff, or you never did?
No, I never did. Never really got into it. Never really liked it.
Your wife?
No, my wife doesn't watch. Like my wife she is the least knowledgeable about anything that has
Pop
to do
culture?
like just anything. No, pop culture.
What do you mean
no.
just anything? My wife is very much what you might call a woman.
Anything
I
about-
ask her, have you washed the dishes? And she replies with, the what now?
No, anything
Just-
revolving around movies.
Just an interesting. I'm going a little bit back. An interesting comment from the chat. Gigi remembers a billboard in Greece about deodorant, and it was just a giant picture of a topless woman with her arm up.
What are you selling here? Deodorant?
Makes sense.
Why are her tits exposed? Well, what are you, a fucking idiot? Your tits right next to your fucking armpit, bro. What are we going to call a spade a spade?
Yeah, no, my wife is.
I mean, does she watch this show? Should you?
No, she does. But she knows. She knows.
She knows that she doesn't know.
You know, like for example, you're going to talk
Socratic.
about just I don't know. Name me a popular movie. That's
Independence Day.
Yeah, no, she definitely hasn't watched it.
Jurassic Park.
Never.
She never watched Jurassic Park.
No, she hasn't watched it.
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
George, what is this thing on your wrist? I'm trying to figure it out all this time.
This is the Whoop strap.
Oh, it counts your steps.
Yeah, it's a fitness thing.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, it has no screen.
No, it doesn't. It's all. I was looking for a long time to get something to track, heart rate and sleeping patterns and all that stuff. But I didn't want like a gadget like the Apple Watch or whatever. Not that it's bad or anything. It's just that I just didn't want it. And then I discovered this, and it's pretty cool.
What does it do?
It tracks your sleep pattern, so it measures your strain. So when you're training, it measures your recovery.
How can it measures your strength? Like it knows how much you could lift?
Basically, it measures your strain. So in a day, if you train, it measures up to 20. So whatever, depending on where you go. So that affects your recovery process, and the recovery process is measured by your sleeping pattern. So basically, it tells you when you're the most fit to actually train. And so,
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's not gadgety. I didn't want like another thing.
It sends the info to your cell phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually.
And now the
cool.
Chinese have all that info. The Vietnamese, rather.
Yeah, I don't
What is it
trust
called?
anything
A
that.
So the Vietnamese hackers that stole your identity, they know how fit you are.
They know exactly when I train.
And it's-
Hello, my name's Juggy.
Yeah, you're
I'm
probably
very
not
fit.
that fit because they saw the information. They weren't scared of you.
I don't trust anything that keeps track of my sleep pattern. I gotta keep my future assassins on their toes, bro. I don't know.
How long have you been fucking cultivating that shitty joke?
It's garbage. Yeah.
You saw that in a fucking meme, didn't you?
And why'd you go with?
You did, eh?
Why'd you go with assassins? You could have because you're not some person who's like.
I'm
There's a.
It
disappointed.
was just a joke, bro. It was just a joke.
No,
Sometimes I
it
find-
wasn't a
Okay,
joke.
alright.
It could have been a joke.
No,
but you
sometimes
took it
they
out of the
stick.
oven too early.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like what you just did there.
No, but that's really what
It
happened.
was a callback to the Germany jokes.
Yes,
I get
You
it.
took- oh god. No, but you took it out of the oven too early. Like it's not a pizza if you just take it out before it's cooked. It's just dough with meat sauce on it. You get it?
Yeah.
That's what happened to that yolk.
Yeah.
Instead of a joke, it was a yolk. Are you fucking measuring your fitness? What is it telling you? It's telling you that you're stressed out.
No,
Let me
so-
see.
Well, it hasn't really updated it for today, but whatever.
Okay, so
I
it
mean,
has
I have an
today.
Apple Watch. It has all that
Whoop
info.
is
too, plus
Whoop
it
is
tells me the
catching up.
time.
So it's uploading it. So it has every day. Let me go to the 13th, which was yesterday. So it says you had functional fitness, slept for 5.56, so not even 6 hours.
Yeah.
It says here gay. That's
How does it know?
wow.
It knows everything. It knows
recovery 59%, 13.1 day strain. So that looks like your day strain was pretty high.
everything. It was.
13, but you were very strained yesterday.
If you scroll up,
Oh, you
I
maintain
see?
high
I
strain
wanna
while
see.
maintaining healthy recovery. Great job capitalizing on a week when your body was ready for strain. Fitness gains are made this way. Also, still gay.
That was perfect. I loved it. No, I mean, the health app does all that too, but I don't know about any of that shit if it's real. Like, my fucking watch has an EKG. Considering how many fucking diodes and shit they put on your diodes, like
On your nuts.
the sensors.
sensors
Yeah.
to take your electrocardiogram, how the fuck is this taking my EKG? Like, look, right
What
now.
is? Can you
I'm
explain to the
currently
viewers at
taking
home what is
EKG.
an EKG?
It's an electrocardiogram.
Yeah, look, see, it's doing that. See, Padali? It's
Deet.
just measuring the
Deet.
rhythm of my heart.
Deet.
That's it.
But let me ask you,
Measuring.
the moments that you had where you were really fucking panicking, you thought you were getting a heart attack, did you get any like alert? Did your watch
No.
beep, 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 beep,
Nothing.
alert? Your heart rate is like skyrocketing.
Once my daughter almost fell and I caught her,
Yeah.
but it was bad. It was scary. And my heart rate, like, I guess the adrenaline went so high that the watch actually was like tachycardia. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was just like in fight or flight mode. Sorry, I was talking off the mic there. It's weird having him here. It's confusing.
It's confusing, but it's kind of cool too.
It is
I
kinda
like how
cool.
excited he is. You know what? He's a man. I'll tell you something. He appreciates the podcast game.
Yes.
He appreciates what we've built here. He appreciates the culture of podcasting. I'll give you that. And for the record, people don't know this, but when I first started my podcast in 2010, the 4-H podcast before the Penthouse podcast, when podcasts were
I thought it was before that, no?
2009, 2010, we
Yeah,
had
something like that.
practicing, but then 2010 October was when we officially got started with the 4-H podcast, and we were going, weekly episodes. But he was very curious. He thought it was stupid, but not in a bad way. He thought it was stupid in the sense like, what are you kids doing in this basement with a shitty microphone? But he was very interested. He's like, there's something to this.
Yeah.
He did our first photo shoot. We did a 4-H
remember
podcast
that, yeah.
photo shoot. He was becoming very interested in photography at the time. But he was super, super interested in podcasting, and I think a year or two into it, when he saw the numbers a little bit climbing, then he started to be like, there is, like, you're not that crazy. You know?
The first thing, one of the first things I did after that campaign in 2018 was to have a meeting with this guy. It was one of the first things. I'm like, okay, man, I'm getting started. What do I do? So we sat down and almost.
He's referring to his failed campaign.
And then it's funny because he's like, do you know what's funny? Because that was before I even went on Rogan. And remember,
you were telling me that like, okay.
So he's like, you know, what's the thing? And I was like, well, look, this is a top secret. You can't tell it, but in a couple of months, I'm gonna be on Joe Rogan.
But had you started already with Mike Ward?
Of course. Yeah, it was over.
I remember when you told me about Rogan. You're like, don't tell anyone. I'm like, you're not gonna be on Rogan. You're like, I'm gonna be on Rogan. And then I was like, I remember sitting at home going to my wife. I'm like, but then it's gonna be on Joe Rogan. She's like, who's Joe Rogan? I'm like, never mind.
That's exactly what my wife would say.
I mean, no, but Anna's not an idiot like you described your wife. My wife is not, she doesn't listen to podcasts.
No, but
I like his wife.
Something like that.
I like his wife too. I have no issue with
my wife would say something else, like for any movie. She's like, oh, yeah, what is that? Braveheart? Okay.
But you know what? That's actually kind of good. I like that because you could show her cool stuff and she'll be impressed.
But it's funny because
I used to think that about Anna too, because she's not pop culture illiterate, but like, especially like compared to me, who I've gone deep into it. Sometimes I'll make a reference. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I just don't care.
Do you ever quote? Do you ever quote famous songs, or do you ever go like, "It's tearing up my heart when I'm
music"?
With you,
she's good,
but when we are apart, I feel it too.
I like to quote classic rock songs to her out of the blue. Like I'll be like, I'm thirsty. What should I drink? And she'll be like, I don't know. I'll be like, maybe one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, and then she'll go ba-na-na-na-na-na. Like that stuff. She's good.
We should do that to people to see if they ever get references. Like not on the podcast, but to regular people. Like maybe you should be like, look, it's just I feel like I'm a cowboy, and it's on a steel horse that I ride.
Yeah, but where have all the cowboys gone?
And just watch people be like.
But by the way, ever since you showed me that playlist,
which playlist?
The rock classics, I've been really I made my own playlist now. I've been really enjoying.
What's on your playlist? I'm curious. For rock classics, what you got on
I
there?
just called it oldies.
No, not what is it called?
Oh, fucking child.
Oh well, I have.
What did you put on there?
I have
Kansas.
Carry On, Wayward Son. Kansas is on there. Magic Man, I really like.
Magic Man's a great song.
Yeah. Magic Man's a very nice song.
I have some Blue Oyster Cult on there.
I have some Elvis Presley on there.
Poseidon, Blue Oyster Cult.
I think I have already Blue Oyster Cult, yeah.
Yeah, Don't Fear the Reaper, huh?
I have that too.
George is a classic rocker. Yeah, a lot of you don't know, but George is a fucking renaissance man.
George was at the time.
He's a musician.
George, I also got to see him live in concert when I was young. We went to a nightclub, even though I wasn't 18 yet, I think. Or was I 18? I don't remember. But we went to a nightclub. We bought tickets to watch X Jazz.
Yeah, it's pronounced Hizaz.
I know, but it was George's band.
I like George's band.
It was George and a very, very giant of a man.
Oh,
what happened to the giant?
He's okay. He's
still around. He's still around. We're preparing something for Just As Dads. We can't go into detail. But
I saw a video of you guys playing together.
Something's cooking.
An assorted group. Now, I had a problem with that video, and thank God you brought it up because I'm going to tell you right now.
They're over.
If I remember correctly, in that video, I think how many people were there? 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3,
no,
4,
there's 7.
5, 6. We're 6.
6?
Yeah, I got
6 plus you.
No, 6 including.
I'm a Cinderella man. This mind, and I believe only one person wasn't wearing a mask. Look, if you guys are gonna be a band,
I think everybody was wearing a mask.
No, not everyone was wearing.
Not everyone. There was one person not wearing.
His name was wearing a mask.
But that person is not the problem.
John?
The problem is the other 5 guys. I'll tell you why. If you guys want to be rock and roll. You can't be walking around with Matt like, we're rock and roll. Oh my God, put your mask on, bro. You guys if you're going to be rock and roll, you got to have no mask on.
But they're
you got to be coughing in each other's mouths.
No, it's not.
They're socialist rock and roll.
No, it's not left wing rock and roll. It's Greek rock and roll. It's like rock and roll light.
If it's first of all, Greek rock and roll is not rock and roll. Greek rock and roll is
hardcore.
A cigarette in one mouth, fucking fingering broads in the other.
Fucking Greek rock and roll is not rock and roll light, man. Like tripes is. I don't care if you're Greek or not. It's groundbreaking music.
Yeah.
You ever heard Hellenic metal? Greek heavy metal?
Like it's a band called Hellenic metal?
No. Hellenic metal is heavy metal, but from Greece. Like, you know how power metal is more in like the northern Slavic countries? Greek heavy metal is really, really good.
Yeah. I remember like these weird progressive rock groups from Greece from the early 90s, like Abaton, where they only sing in ancient Greek and it's like electric guitar and like a fucking lute. Like,
the fuck is that? I know Sabaton. Those guys are good.
No, but similar, but less aggressive. Same kind of vibe.
Sabaton's not aggressive. Sabaton, it's metal. Older, it's ballad metal. It's power metal stuff.
So take out the fucking metal riffs and keep the ballad part.
Okay, because Sabaton, all they do is every album is about a historic event.
Yeah, Primo Victoria, I remember.
Yeah, and they talk about their songs are all based on that. Like, they have songs about ancient Greece. They have songs about World War II. It's fucking cool.
Don't fucking joke, Olga. Greek rock and roll's the shit. It's pretty good.
The crazy thing about the Greek rock scene was that it was so underground for such a long time,
for
right?
like 25 years.
Like when we discovered and we started playing like Pixlax or
I learned that shit from you guys.
Yeah,
I
me
saw you
too.
guys playing at a fucking Greek festival, a street festival on Park Avenue once, and I hear rock and roll music. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Pix Lax always sounds like chocolate to me, though.
It's the best for me.
No, I'm not saying they're great, but what I'm saying is the name Pix Lax, it always makes me think of X-Lax, and then I'm like, well, it's not X-Lax, and then I think of chocolate.
It's actually
Pix
ancient
Lax
Greek
Lax,
for
yeah.
punches and slaps. That's
Yeah.
what
It was
exactly
Pix-Lax.
means.
It's from the
Pix-Lax.
Eleusinian mysteries, right? Like if intruders were to enter, they would be warned away with Pix, Lax, Dax. Kicks, bites, and slaps.
They would bite them.
Punches, slaps, and
Peaks, Lax.
Lax is a
Dax.
slap.
Lax is a
slap.
bite, yeah.
Lax is, you don't want to saying bite. He's
Peaks
not
is a
saying
punch. I don't know.
Bite. Don't worry. It's
Peaks is a punch, like Pigmachos,
Yeah,
like a
Pig,
boxer. Dax is like Dagono,
Yeah.
which is bite. It's the middle one. I don't remember ever.
I think Lax is a slap.
Maybe, yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking like this.
But yeah, so these guys were very underground. So when we started playing it over here, obviously we had a huge group of all these off the boaters that were studying at
the
university.
boaters.
Yeah.
They just came out of nowhere and we're like, what the?
Hey, George, you play guitar. You want to play Pixlax with me? Yeah, we make rock and roll.
Dile, preste Pixlax, popo. Like all these off the like all these heavy accents.
Yeah.
I remember our first
Fucking
gig.
Yanni's accent's the best.
The one of the greatest George
talk like
rock
this.
songs that he ever wrote was "Not Without My Yogurt." It's a classic. It's actually a sad song because at the end of the song you realize
It's a ballad.
George does not get his yogurt.
Yeah. I mean, no, you guys
No,
are
so
pretty
all
good.
all that to say that there was this underground wave of all these amazing, and now obviously everybody knows them, but back in the day, it wasn't really known over here what we were. But they were very well known in Greece.
I
Obviously.
learned it from you guys, and then some students that I met during my flag burning days. They introduced me to like the deep
Dude, this
rock and roll.
it's
stuff
so
from the
funny
70s.
because I've watched
like
Phil.
Sideropoulos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched Phil go from right-wing nationalist, but not super hardcore.
Not aggressive.
Then aggressive communist, like super left wing.
I was never more aggressive than
super
I was.
aggressive,
Too
and then he
aggressive
met a
right wing.
Yeah, he met a guy from Greece. He became one of his friends who was like a super communist at the time. Now he's a capitalist dog.
I mean, I wouldn't call him either of those things at any of those moments in his life, but yeah.
So and then he got a super influence. He became super left wing, and then now somehow I guess he's realized it's all nonsense. He's kind of like teetered right in the middle. He's like, fuck this.
I mean,
nonsense.
I think
But
I
he
have
went
one of the
spectrum.
healthiest natural progressions in my political beliefs. I was like a college girl. I'm just trying it out. I'm experimenting.
Yeah, he was a whore.
I was whoring out my mind.
Political
figure out.
whore.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
But it's
But
incredible.
how can you make an informed decision if you don't understand both sides of an argument?
Oh, you really understood it. You went deep. Yeah.
Dude, I'm a fucking method actor, okay?
But it's crazy how your perceptions change as soon as there's a kid that comes in the picture.
No, even before the
Or-
kid,
or
he
even-
was leaving the left.
when you start working.
No, I
Wait,
wasn't. No, I wasn't.
When you actually become a professional, right? When
You know what
get
the
a
difference
job
is?
and you're out there.
Two major things changed
Curious,
how
yeah.
hard I leaned to the left. One was the left itself and what it came to stand for. Because that's not the left that I stood for 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They're not the same group. They don't have the same ideals anymore.
Okay.
One. Two, I started making actual money at some point. I was like, why does the government want to tax me?
Yeah, there you
I was
realize
so
it.
mad. I
Yeah.
was like, my money.
No, but you know what? People think that that's bad. That is not bad. Why do you think it should be right for the government, an external entity that's not creating wealth, they're just taxing wealth? Why should they have the monopoly on dictating what you do with your money and taking your money when you work for it? You know what I mean?
I mean, but that's the problem. You're saying, why should they? Why they shouldn't be they? They should be we.
Exactly.
We are they because we elect them, but that's not what's happening.
Because we don't have power. We elect them to have
Exactly.
power over us, which is crazy.
So deep, so deep.
No, but it's true. Like
But it's true. It's the
like,
basic problem with government.
Yeah.
You know, you ever heard the term? And I haven't heard in a while, but
I can't
it's-
get my juice out.
I haven't heard this term in a while. But I remember I heard the term growing up: working poor.
Yeah.
It was people that worked 40 hours, 50 hours a week. They had regular jobs and they were fucking super
Yeah,
poor.
no, but they don't. You can't say that anymore.
Why?
Now it's POC.
People of color.
Whoa, dude.
That's what
Yeah,
POC
that's
is?
what I'm
No? No, but remember working poor. Working poor is the saddest fucking thing ever. Is for you to work
Yeah.
a full-time job and then when you're calculating and then you get your check, but the government decided I gotta take my 1/3 or where the fuck it is, and because of that difference, you're always in the negative. When you're like
Wage slavery.
yeah, you know, if I didn't have to give you that negative, I wouldn't have to take any money from you. I'd be able to pay my bills and live. And like, no, you have to give it to us. And it's like, yeah, but you're creating perpetually a system where we're dependent on you. And like, it's fucking
It's
crazy.
fucking
I'd rather
crazy,
people
yeah.
be independent. I'd rather the people that
There
need
is
it,
a place for
the people that
government.
need it should get the help. and the people that need to get the help to raise them up so that they can then develop an independent lifestyle where they don't need. Not keeping people sucking at the teat forever. That's horrible.
That's Yugoslavia.
But that's what they do because for the votes. They basically keep you this far away at arm's length of success, and you always need them.
It's the whole concept of the
government.
They do. That bugs me because it puts like a face on a non-tangible entity.
Okay, so I'll show you an example right now in Canada, right?
Okay.
So when they shut down the businesses, right? This is what Trudeau did. He shut down the businesses. They even shut down stuff that they didn't need to shut down that wasn't going to help the spike or anything, right? Stuff that are closed off that weren't restaurants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what he did is very smart but dirty. You lost everything now. He's not letting you work. And then he goes, don't worry, I have the vaccine. The vaccine is I'll be injecting $1,000 a month or a week, whatever the fuck it was. So basically what they're saying is, no, don't worry, I got your back. I'll take care of you. But what they're doing is they're just keeping you alive on life support so that you could depend on them. Like, oh, I need your help. When in reality, they're the ones that blocked you from making the wealth that you wouldn't need them in the fucking first place.
Yes. I mean, Corona is a very specific
It's a space, but I'm just using it because it's live right now.
I know.
And I want it to be more direct to the current time so people don't feel like I'm going too far back. So I'm going to now. So there are better ways to do this, to keep businesses alive and keep certain businesses alive so that they can pay off their people. They don't got to do these scammy shit that people are doing where they're getting rid of employees because they can't afford them, even with the whole payroll subsidy that's supposed to take, I thought it was instant, but it's going to take like a year for you to get that money back. Yeah. Anyways, they're not taking care, but it's not a mistake. Like we chalk it off to, oh, they're just being goofy. It's calculated. They need you thirsty so that they then say, oh, we're the water holders. You need water from us. So people aren't voting with what's best for me long term. People are voting with I'm fucking desperate. Are you going to help me? Like what Nancy Pelosi is doing by holding back those funds that Trump wants to sign to give people in Corona. So she's like, you guys are suffering. It's Trump's fault. She's like, well, Trump offered to give a couple of $1 trillion so you could give people. No, we're not signing that. Okay, so don't say you're for the people.
She does not look
because
well,
you don't like Trump, you don't want to sign this. You know? So anyways, that's what they're doing, and that's what fucking bothers me.
Yeah, but that was my vicious cycle also. I remember, especially in sales. Mm-hmm. In sales, they tax your commission like crazy. Just the commission part, I think almost half. Even though you're not in that tax bracket.
Yeah, same thing. Waiters used to get fucked hardcore, I remember.
Car sales, it's even worse.
I mean, we need taxation to a certain extent, right? Obviously. Like healthcare, for example.
7% at the point of sale.
Thank you.
Sure.
No, he's right.
No, I'm just mean like that's not where I was going. I just meant we do need taxation. Like single payer healthcare model is the best model we have right now for healthcare. Like you can't force everyone to get insurance. It doesn't make sense. You can't. A free market can control a healthcare system. Like what fucking company wants to not make money, right? Yeah. It needs to be done that way. That's part of the public services that we need taxation for.
Okay, but like he said right now, because a huge portion of our taxation goes into stuff that's not helping infrastructure. It's going into a lot of salaries. It's going into a lot of theoretical programs. So what I'm saying
theoretical
is
stuff
you reduce. No, I'm not talking about science.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about like when children, like the we thing was the theoretical thing. We'll give them $1 trillion. They're going to employ kids. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So that's millions of dollars that's going into pockets of specific people.
Do you know that there are people who are mad at the conservatives for bringing out that scandal because it took jobs away from people? I was watching it on Twitter.
Absurd.
They're so dumb.
It's some of the dumbest things. So what I'm saying is, what Poseidon said, as much as we want to make fun of him, 7% taxation at the point of sale, it makes more sense to tax No, not just less, but you tax on items that are being bought and sold. Let's say on a sale, for example, instead of taxing someone's wages. The problem I have with income tax is that the exchange is being made between two parties. The people that are using the sweat of their brow that are working, right? And then the people that are saying, I like what you did, I am paying you for it, right? That's the fair exchange. Now there's a third party that comes in, and regardless of why the worker is doing the work, like why you worked overtime, you may have worked overtime because you needed that extra money for your daughter's fucking braces or something, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of a third party that had nothing to do with the exchange in the first place says, now you owe me X amount of dollars. So the reason why you invested your time and your body to work extra,
because you needed that extra money.
Because you needed that extra money goes down totally. You don't get that extra money because a third party comes in like the mafia and says, if you want to do business, you gotta pay us first.
It's the cost of doing business.
Which is crazy because there's enough money. This is not just him saying it, but there's enough money to make on what he just said. If the government hadn't gotten so large that they're just creating departments, they need to pay these people, right?
I was a civil servant.
Yeah.
And not just that, we're forgetting the fact that if there is no income tax and it's just 7% at the point of sale, then people will have even more money to spend.
To spend on that. Yeah, exactly. You have more take-home money. Because my thing is this, is people deserve the money that they worked for. Like I think you need more take-home money. I don't like the idea of, I can't afford groceries this week, so I'm going to have to go to that program that the school is going to feed my kid a lunch or whatever. Well, why the fuck couldn't she keep the extra $300 so that she could do her own groceries? She could be independent. She wouldn't need you guys. They do it on fucking purpose, Phil.
I don't know if they do it on purpose. I won't go so far.
They do it on purpose.
I think that our economic system, as it stands today, is not a long-term... You okay?
I dropped my coffee.
You got a big thing of coffee trapped in your thick, luscious beard. It's not economically viable 20, 25 years from now. The idea that we need more take money, like he said, because that's a common argument, that if they have more money because they're being taxed less, they'll spend more money and the economy will grow. But this economy that we have is an economy that isn't sustainable because we're constantly burning through things. I mean, tangible and intangible. I mean, the idea that the only way for the economy and in turn our society to grow is through consumerism is a crazy concept because we can't support that forever.
Of course we can,
because
it's all
everything you need.
But it's not just consumerism. Isn't just an actual product. What you sell is consumerism. Somebody wants to buy a commercial. They're buying it from you.
Yes.
Now they can't buy it from you if they don't have the money to pay for it. Same thing as you.
I'm
you
not
can't
saying
buy
overthrow
stuff
the system.
without. No.
I'm just saying it needs to be adapted.
But the adaptation is the government has to get smaller because now.
Agreed, 100%.
The government has to get smaller because right now the amount of elected officials we have is embarrassing for the amount of work they do.
Who cares?
Okay?
Forget the elected officials. Just think of the civil servants whose jobs within 10 years will easily be automated. What I used to do at the CLSC, fucking stamping documents all day, they don't need me. It's all automated now.
I remember back in 2008.
Hey, George is still here, everyone.
I remember back in 2008, our government had announced a policy where they would replace 1 out of 2 public servants that would retire.
I remember this.
And over time, I mean, things would
get smaller.
Now, we arrived in government in 2014, and the minister in charge of the finance minister, basically, that was in charge of allocating all these funds, basically at that point he went he wanted to do kind of like a research to see how many public servants exist in Quebec. All right. Now, keep in mind that this from 2008 has been happening all the way until 2014. So we're talking about a whole 6 years of, this mechanism that was already in place.
Yeah.
And in 2014, they still had no idea of the exact number of how large the civil service was in Quebec.
No clue.
And it took them, I think, maybe 4 or 5 months to figure out the number. And they came up with...
Isn't that crazy, though? 4 or 5 months to figure out that number.
But imagine how huge it is because it's so big. You're like, okay, what is considered civil service? I mean, is it public, parapublic, municipal? Like, what do you fit into that whole umbrella, right? And it's huge. They came up with a figure that was, I think, close to 850,000 people.
It's a lot.
Like, we're talking about nearly a tenth of Quebec's population.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, but that's what we're so European, right?
No, but that's what I'm fucking telling you. And we have to talk about the problem because people only think, oh, well, you need all these tax and stuff. You need all these programs to help people. My first thing is to help people. I think the number one job should be to make sure that we have a safety net, that nobody falls down. But the safety net should be there not to hold people and trap them in it. It should be to lift them up so they get back on their feet, they contribute again, and they're independent, they can live a happy life. I don't like the idea that we trap people right in that limbo, that paycheck to paycheck, I still need the government, that limbo is torture. That limbo is hell. And then you have people living their whole lives going in that limbo, up a bit, their head goes over the water, or something happens, they're a bit under. And the government, they're like, buoys, right? Yeah, the only way they're going to vote for my party, for example, is if I keep them at that's where they feel they need me. So you need a strong party. You need someone to come out and be like, look, we have to do a better fucking job with less of your fucking money. We have to be way more efficient so you guys give us less money because we're starting to realize that the more money you give us, the less money you have, the worse it is for your lives.
You're talking about like a radical...
It's not radical to reduce taxes. You just have to do it slowly.
No, sorry. Yeah. Not about reducing taxes. I'm talking about...
reducing the number of
party.
Yeah.
Like a party to emerge.
Oh, I don't mean... No, that's
that.
not what I mean. I don't mean a strong party like we need someone like with an iron fist. I mean a strong party, one that will not be scared to be like, listen, guys, I know we're going to have to make some tough decisions. In other words, a lot of our elected officials, a lot of, like, we're going to have to find a way to reduce them too. But it's the right thing to do so that the country moves forward, because there's no excuse for stealing basically your money. And then we find out every 4 or 5 years that hundreds of millions, if not a billion of your dollars were basically siphoned off to different friends of politicians' pockets, like we're finding out now with Trudeau. It is unacceptable. I can't, how do you justify that there's children here that go to school hungry? That go to school hungry when we have programs, when these guys like Trudeau are siphoning off millions of dollars to their families and friends. It is unheard of. It's something that they should be in jail for that. There should be, if you have enough extra millions of dollars to give to your friends, then there's no reason why a single mother shouldn't be able to have money to pay for her kids' food. There's no reason why any kids should go to school hungry, okay? There's no reason for any of that fucking shit.
Agreed. 100%.
So you can be like, we have a huge problem with these single moms. Really? Then how the fuck are you finding the money to give your friends $20 million to whip out their dicks in a fucking meeting? How come? Crazy. No, how come you're finding that money?
It's crazy, but to think of that exists in Canada. You know, on my podcast, I had this guy, Pierre Legault. This guy founded...
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Moisson Montreal. Oh yeah. And then he left there and he created Renaissance, which is they give out clothes.
The thrift shop.
Good for him.
Huge figure in Quebec, and especially in this like social entrepreneurship and all that stuff. And I had him on the podcast and he was telling me that it's unacceptable that, because he's been doing this for over 35 years. Imagine, I mean, this dates back to it's not new. The 70s and 80s, right? Where he started coming up with all these initiatives and people were like, what is that? I don't understand. And he's like, imagine, since then we've been fighting, and we're at a point right now where 3 out of 10 kids, like you said, don't get 3 meals a day.
It's unacceptable.
In Canada. You know what I mean?
Unacceptable, especially when it's not to be like, oh, it's like Venezuela, we don't have a lot of money. When Trudeau's finding ways to grease his homies, there is no fucking way that kids should be hungry. It should never even cross their head. We should be at a point here with that money. I'm just saying, because of the amount of money that they're siphoning off. We should be at a point where, whether or not the parents are employed or not, the one thing that's for fucking certain is that in that household, no one's going to go fucking hungry, and there's going to be a chance for opportunities. Instead of Trudeau being like, I need an extra vacation, and I got to give my friend a couple $1 million because, he's got this new company, he's a startup, he needs a couple $100 million, it'll help him out. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It is fucking ridiculous, and we should be embarrassed that we haven't taken these guys in the street and beaten the shit out of them. Yeah.
Let's end on a high note.
Alrighty. So guys,
I agree.
Sorry for my aggression here towards the end, but one of the things that really does piss me off is that when I hear about it's 30% of kids they'll go to school and they won't get they sometimes they go with no lunch and they don't have those coupons to get it's fucking unacceptable. You hear about that and that should frustrate you. All jokes aside, that's fucking unacceptable for a socialist country. Bullshit. Socialist for who? For fucking the leader and his friends. Yeah. For the elites. Anyways, patreon.com/Pantelis. You get exclusive episodes of all of my shows. You get to see them live when they're not live for other people, just the patrons. Every Friday night this month, it's the Halloween Spookfest going on. This week, we're watching Nightmare on Elm Street, 9 p.m. Friday, me and Poseidon. Only for patrons on the Patreon exclusive Discord channels. The gentleman right here, to my left, probably your right, is George Tadrizos. You could catch him on the Backstage podcast, where he interviews various politicians about their war crimes. Links are in the description. Also, he has another podcast right here on his shirt, his more popular podcast, Just Us Dads, where he talks with other dads, and they talk about the frustrations of having children, and sometimes those kids don't get 3 screen meals a day. So he talks about that kind of stuff, and just life of being a dad. You gotta take a kid to hockey practice, you gotta hold off from choking them, different things like that they talk about. It's a fun show. It's very happy, fun loving, a little aggressive. No children are usually harmed during the tapings of those episodes. Phil Balabanos in front of me again. His stuff, description, you could link to his YouTube channel. You could link to all the stuff he does. He makes wonderful videos. He created that nice studio tour for us.
Have you guys seen the studio tour?
It is a great studio tour. Check out his channel right now if you haven't seen it. It's the latest video that he's put up. And balabanos.com is where you're going to go to catch all kinds of Phil related news, like Fill My Hole, his podcast where he fills holes. He's a handyman, really. So pantelscomedy.com, and for those of you who stayed with us this whole time, a new episode of 2 Drink Minimum has just dropped right now, audio and video. Go check that out. Thank you all very much for watching. Poseidon, thank you for being here. pantelscomedy.com.